Well, we are back, huh? We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today, we have a very special guest. Mr. Steve Saiz is with us. How are you?
Thank you very much, guys. This is a big treat.
Yes.
Thank you. Boom.
Pounds all around.
Pounds.
Glad you
Notice how he didn't get up and go over and give you a pound?
Why would he do that?
Well, it's only...
see?
Here we go.
What a nice-ass dude. Hell
We
yes,
got to
dude.
start the... Oh,
He's
So sick.
proved you wrong, dude.
we got to start the show over again.
and the JC too. There you go.
We got to start the show over again. This is what happens when we have peanut butter whiskey before the show.
Look at that.
Is that what you guys did before I got here?
Man, listen. Jeez.
No, that was really good.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. Awesome. This is a very big treat. I'm very honored. You guys are awesome. Congratulations on 6 years.
Ooh, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Dude, wow,
we're
big.
It's a long time,
It's
right?
a long time.
Definitely.
Yeah. And what a way to go out. This is going to be the worst
This
last
is-
show for you guys.
You're good. This is going to be a great show.
This is our grand finale. This is our
It's
exit.
going to light everything on fire. We're out.
Like
Peace.
Steve Saiz, and then it's like nothing, and then people start asking questions.
You
and
don't
we're
get
like,
it.
What do you mean? We ended it with Steve.
it.
This
What
is great.
No viewers, no nothing. That's it.
No viewers.
So good.
This will be the shortest episode, though. 27 minutes.
20. Oh, I said
Is that what we're
Well,
aiming
no,
for?
you said he said he had to go to Starbucks after this.
Starbucks.
So you had to go get a coffee.
Tender date.
Oh,
No, I don't.
you have to.
No. Yeah. Actually, I did a thing over here at Starbucks on Venice by the skate park. No,
What,
the skate park. Boardwalk. I did 3 murals of Krishna Soy.
Did you?
wow.
Yeah.
Wait, right over here on the boardwalk
Yeah.
by the Starbucks that we pass by every day.
Yeah. Go inside. There's 3 murals I did of Christian.
No way.
Wait,
Yeah.
the one down by where they used to have like the
There was
crazy
Like on the boardwalk.
on the boardwalk.
Right.
But they used to have. What did they? The show right there. They used to have the show with all those crazy people in there.
In the Starbucks?
No, next to it.
What?
You don't know what I'm talking about?
There's crazy shows
now you just
on the
lost me.
boardwalk all the time.
Yeah. The whole thing's a
No,
show.
it was there. It was a huge thing.
Steve,
Oh
we're
my
so
God,
glad you
you're
came
just-
tonight.
Yeah.
man.
The
We're
worst.
so
You guys
glad.
are the worst. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have no idea. What do you mean, what show?
Now
Let's
we have
pause.
to-
Let's pause and figure
yeah,
this
we're going to
out.
figure this out real quick.
No, but it's kind of before the pandemic. They hit me up. They were putting a Starbucks in there, and they wanted like an LA artist, skater to do something, and I immediately called up Christian. I think I wanted to get Block in there, and
Okay.
and
True staple
Jesse,
OG.
the
legend.
guys,
Straight up.
like dressing, and Christian immediately hit me up. But I mean, we'd always text and stuff, and he immediately. It was awesome with him because we used all of his dad's photos. So, with Starbucks, you needed, photo permission and everything. So they're basically, that old picture of Christian doing the front side tweaker in Venice, the famous one, he put boards on it and everything. That was one of the main pictures.
So let me get this straight. Things are falling off the shelf here. The Powell, what was that? The Powell Handbook?
The Handbook.
Yeah.
They want us,
yeah.
they want us to
That's
talk.
right.
It's jumping off the shelf.
Yeah.
Wanting to talk about Powell.
I think the thing's one.
Yeah, you wait a little bit.
So we're talking about like the art that you do. It's like spray paint with oil. Is that the
Oh,
type?
yeah.
That's what it is.
It's totally what it is. Yeah. It's one of
Amazing.
the first murals I kind of did. But yeah, so one of Christian Frontside Air, one of his rock star pictures, and one of him, which I love. It's an old picture at Lance's house at Lance Mountain Manor.
Okay.
And it's Christian doing a Chrysler, one of the first pictures for one of his ads. But it's rad. You barely notice it's his dad's face, like Ivan in his face is like he's using a fisheye lens, so
Yeah.
it's looking up, and you see him, but you don't really notice it. So it's like the both of them.
No way.
So yeah, so they were both just like, hey, here, use it, and I had 5 days to paint them. I did them with my buddy Sergio Sandoval. He really helped me out. Just get this done super quick. They were like, take your time. We want this to be really good.
Oh.
And it was so rad. Like one of the last nights, we got to finish this. We're doing this super quick, and Ivan calls me up from Hawaii, and he's like, hey, what's up, brother? I'm like, oh, I haven't even talked to you. So, and then he just started giving me stories. And my buddy Sergio's like, dude, I got to get back to work. I go, no, I'm not going anywhere right now. And he was telling me stories how Christian was the first guy to, when he was 11 and 12, going down there and hooking up with all the homies there and smoking out, doing whatever. But all the
Sure.
surfers, he really brought skating to Venice.
Oh,
and
my
started bringing
God.
ramps and everything. So
Definitely.
he was the beginning of bringing that whole set to these.
Well,
these
him and Tony Alva. I mean, Tony Alva grew up.
that
here.
was There
Right.
was already there was that
Yeah,
there. But
yeah.
like the modern day, let's go skate that whole area.
That whole. I mean, all those guys contributed like fully to Venice being like the mecca.
Yeah.
For sure.
When the pit was going.
Yeah,
this was like before.
This was
Not
jump,
before the pit.
this
I
is
mean,
jump ramp.
Yeah, this
with the
was
jump
started-
ramp against the
Yes.
big wall,
Yeah.
and then like on the dude,
Oh, yeah.
doing
Yeah.
a bunch of different wall rides with Tim Jackson and all that.
Yeah. This is before. And he's the one that kind of instigated all that.
Right.
So yeah.
It's funny because how much you get paid for a Starbucks? What is Starbucks? What do you charge Starbucks for something like that? I mean, it's
They-
Starbucks.
Yeah,
They-
they hitting you up, or what's the deal with
They
that?
they
I know.
paid they paid some money.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's
good.
great.
Good.
They
As
paid
they
me
should.
proper. Yeah.
Just whisper it. How much? And nobody is okay.
That was good.
Yeah. I mean, it was the Venice Freak Show. You know what I'm talking about?
Venice Freak Show.
There was a huge building. There was a huge building right there, and they would have all these people doing all this crazy stuff.
Like a sideshow circus type shit.
Exactly. You don't
Oh.
remember that?
No.
That was huge. I remember going down there when I was a kid and be like, this is wild.
No.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it ended like probably like a couple, 5
What
10
was it
years
like?
ago.
You go into the buildings and there's like different rooms or
and
something.
people are
with, like-
doing weird like things and like I don't know. You can look it up. It's whatever.
no.
But the Starbucks is right next
But
to
there's
where that
so
used to
much
be.
weird shit going on in Venice. I
Yes,
mean,
there
that's probably
is.
just
Yeah.
about like whatever.
That's the sideshow.
Yeah.
You're like, there's
Yeah.
other shit going on.
Yeah.
It's funny because like when you were talking about like Christian Asoy and all that stuff, and like you were a part of the Bones Brigade, like early 80s through 80. What year did you get sponsored by Powell?
God, I don't know. I to me it always seems like
84-ish?
73.
1973.
73.
Okay.
The wheel was just kind of a urethane.
The wheel was still rocks.
Yeah, they decided to go
basically.
faster if you go downhill. That's when I remember skating. Sorry.
No, but we're looking like 83, 84.
80, probably 85 is maybe when I got sponsored.
Okay.
85, 86.
Okay.
I stayed at amateur I tried to do it a little longer, than, when you started entering contests, I was trying to do kind of what Jeff Grosso and a couple guys did. It seems like they stayed amateur longer. They could have done it a year earlier, but they did well in all these contests because contests were such a big thing back then. And then they flip over when they turned pro. They were just like they didn't miss a step,
Well,
without paying.
Let's so like back then you would basically would you turn yourself pro? Because there's stories like skaters would come on here and they just enter the pro contest.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were pro.
I guess you could, if you paid for it, you would. But
Right.
who were you riding for?
Yeah.
No, I mean
a big
that's
deal.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But were you just doing amateur contests?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
Why not go pro? Because like if you're in the pro contest, there's money involved.
Yeah, but back then it was a lot cooler back then because when you went pro, you stayed pro.
Yeah.
And I remember like some of the combi contests, like what I don't know, maybe 5-7 years ago, when they started having amateurs entering pro contests, and I remember talking to guys like Omar or Bucky, and they were still battling out with the new guys, and all these younger guys were allowing them to actually skate with the pros, possibly win money, but they were still entering amateur contests. And I was like, no, back then when you went pro, it was a big thing. To get a board was a big thing,
Right.
to enter a contest and start placing and doing whatever. But you could, once you turn pro, you couldn't go back to AMs.
No.
Yeah, that was, and I'd like to think that would kind of go back to that.
Did anybody do that? Did anybody go from pro back to AM? I mean, it was either switching companies or
Nobody
anything?
that was with any of the big companies.
It's kind of almost a pride thing as well, too,
Yeah.
right? Like you are now on this level, you can't go back down. You can't be entering AM contests, right?
Yeah. That was kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to be, back then it was like do well with the pro contest and then get a board,
Right.
with one of the majors,
Right.
You know.
And so you were saying you were AM for what, 3 or 4 years before you turned pro?
Well, yeah. There was I remember I just did this podcast thing with the Bones Brigade video guys. They were doing these, like, let's look over all the videos. And we did the thing on Savannah Slamma with Tim Malin's thing. And I remember them taking me out to the contest, and they were like, hey, do you want to turn pro at this contest? You're doing well. Stacy told me that, and Brian Ridgway told me that, my old team manager tracker. And they're like, you want to go pro? And I was like, Powell's notorious for like they'll turn people pro, but if you don't have your worked out if you're going to get a board or not, I could be sitting there in limbo without ever getting a board. I go, there's way more to talk about than just jumping on this now.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they would turn you pro, but then they would hold off on the board. So now you're just entering pro contests.
Yeah, there were some guys. I think like Adrian Demand. I don't know if that's how it worked out for him when he went pro, and he was just floating around, not really getting a board for a while.
But he was just skating the pro contest.
Yeah, he started skating pro contest. I think he skated pro contest for Powell. He started to, but with Adrian, the thing is with him, he was a vert guy, and at the time, Powell had the best vert team. You know, it's like I remember talking to Stacy. Go, why don't we hook up Jeff Phillips or Chris Miller? Get those guys on. Let's just, that would be insane. He's like, no, we don't want to just have everybody on the team. It wouldn't be good for skateboarding.
You want the dream team, huh?
Yeah. You can't. They already had enough of the guys that were placing the top 3, the top 5 all the time. So you want like that going on. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, so with me, I waited a while. So I was like, I want to do well. And it wasn't until the 3rd Savannah Slamma that's when I went pro. That was my first street contest. With like, I think it was Barbie was in that too. Yeah, we turned pro at the same time.
So, but not only that, you were a street skater, but also you skated vert too, and mini ramp, right? You had a mini ramp in your backyard growing up?
No, it was a vert ramp.
It was a vert ramp.
It got
smaller.
covered.
It's smaller vert
Smaller
ramp,
ramp.
right?
No, it was at the time, ramps I think were 9.5. The contest ramps were 9.5 foot transition.
Okay.
I basically made them on a little over 10-foot transition, and it had like a foot 9 inches of vert. But the ramp was only 12 feet wide.
Oh.
Because that's all we could fit. And I remember seeing Cab's ramp going, Cab, all these pictures in San Jose. His ramp was, you could tell by the sheets, 12 feet wide, vert ramp, and all the pictures looked really big, but it was like, I think it was maybe an 8-foot ramp, maybe with 6 inches of vert or something. And we made this huge vert ramp. It was gigantic. And then, I mean, you could blast. And like the first time Christian came over, he was like, oh my God, he was going like 7-8 foot. And in my neighborhood, just suburban area in Long Beach, you're looking outside, and with Christian, he's like, "Oh, like you hear him, and everybody's like, they're like, what is?" Because they could kind of see us doing airs, on our good days.
See Christian flying over the rooftop.
It was. So that was. Had that for a while, but it was really hard to get people to skate because my brother he got into skating vert really quick, really fast. Chet Thomas learned to skate vert there. First time, Jason Lee ever dropped in on a ramp was at my place, So it's like and back then it was harder when somebody dropped in on a ramp because now you have skate parks and there's versions of like how big you can go.
Yeah.
But then it was like small quarter pipe crap to big vert ramps thing. So, there was a whole different thing. But, that ramp was fun. And then because of insurance, we had to cut it down. So we only had as a mini ramp for not even 6 months.
Okay.
But we filmed some stuff on there, and it just like that's the stuff that stuck to go, oh, you had a mini ramp. And it was a crappy mini ramp.
That's what I'm remembering.
Yeah.
It had such a big transition for a mini ramp. It just sucked because it didn't have that. It wasn't steep enough that you could have like Smith grind lock in kind of thing. It's a little taller, and it was like. Yeah, and I think we'd skate TV. Oh, his favorite ramp to ever skate. And I go, I think it was the 3rd time I skated it. Once we cut it down, I was like, I hated it. It's terrible.
Why? It's just height restrictions for the city. That's why they wanted you to cut it down.
Yeah, they just thought it was a fire hazard. I think my neighbors had been complaining for a while, but the insurance came over. They saw, you can't have the structure in the backyard that big. So we tried to cut it down, but they still came back again. No, you guys got to get rid of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wait, what city was this? What city were you in?
Long Beach?
Long Beach.
Yeah.
But by that time, you didn't care because when you cut it down the first time, it was pretty much done.
Yeah. That was just it. And it was
it.
hard to get people to come over and skate. Like Eddie Radke was a local. He always came over. Came over with Christian occasionally. I remember Remy Stratton used to come over a bunch back in the day. It's so funny back then. Remy Stratton was like this street guy, and then he was skating for Skull Skates. He disappeared. I hadn't seen him for a couple of years, and he all of a sudden was bigger, and he was just skating just vert and just like the best frontside ollies, eggplants. He had such. I go, what happened to you? He just killed it. He was so good. Him and this other guy, I think Mike Sanders, were these guys that would come over the most. But I had so much restrictions with my parents too.
Did you?
Yeah, they didn't want anybody to skate.
Why?
Look, they were just worried about people getting hurt.
Yeah.
So, Bucky came over when we found Bucky when we were on tour one year, and then he came out to stay with me 2 weeks, and we shot a bunch of stuff there at the time. And there was Danny Way came over.
Wow.
There's a bunch of Adrian Domain. I don't think Lance ever skated it. Tony came over, hung out, but never skated it. But yeah.
Tony was like, nah, I'm good.
I think that's what he did.
That's
But
good.
why? I mean, your parents could obviously see the talents of these guys skating. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like you had some beginner trying to.
Yeah, no. It's so funny. My mom, I remember Eddie got pissed one time because everybody had to wear a helmet.
Okay.
Whatever. Christian comes over. He's not wearing a helmet. And Eddie's all, why does he get away with not wearing a helmet? And she's all, well, he's pro. He's good.
Daddy Rattigan. Amazing.
She's told it to all of us. But in one sense,
Was your mom the enforcer, by the way,
a
of the
little
helmets,
bit,
or
yeah.
were you having to tell?
I had to tell people, but yeah, they were yeah.
Which
I
kind
did.
of sucks.
Yeah, totally
You're
does.
telling your peers like, yo, you got to wear my.
Yeah.
But your mom, she's in there baking cookies. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
This is her house.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's her
their
house.
house. Yeah,
like,
their
you
house.
ain't gonna get
Yeah.
any. Like,
Was she paying attention to really what was going on? Or
No, not so much.
Yeah.
Just the beginning, but like tons of people would try to come over, and when they found out where I lived, they would show up, and I'd be on the road too. I'd be on tour. They would come over, try to
right,
skate, and like,
right.
no, you can't skate unless they're here.
yeah,
But that part of Long Beach, it was like more of my friends where everybody was street skating. You already had to kind of have a vocabulary in skating vert to actually go skate that ramp.
did
'cause-
you go ahead? Sorry,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask. Did you grew
Oh, is
up?
time up?
Yeah.
Wait a
No,
minute.
We're at time.
no.
that was
We
fun.
got about eight more minutes.
more. Oh.
We got about 8 more minutes. But so when you first started skating, did you grow up strictly street skating or skating parks or ramps?
It just turned into first just getting aboard, skating down the street.
Yeah.
I remember being I was like 6 years old, and we just moved from Whittier to Long Beach because my mom's from Compton, and it was kind of there in Compton. We always lived there, but then we moved to Long Beach, and I think I was 6 years old. I started getting on a board. I remember thinking I could totally do that. Started pushing around and go I couldn't totally do it. Okay. But I was butt boarding around with all the other guys, or knee boarding,
Sure.
with all the other guys. And then probably 8 years old, I started getting into it. And then it was kind of building little quarter pipes, or not even quarter pipes, like wood up against a trash can. We were super into Evel Knievel, jumping our bikes, so we tried to jump off things. But
Right.
it turned into that, and there was a skate park, Lakewood Skate Park was around. So we started going to do that, and then I started building some ramps. Like I built this my first half pipe was a full half pipe,
No flat bottom.
no flat bottom. and we had it there, and it was probably one side was 6.5, the other side was 8.5. Totally lopsided. Because back then it's you see pictures of people doing Tony Alva doing big quarter pipe things. We gotta have a big vert wall, and then but then when ramps, Eddie Ratty had a ramp down the street. That's what he really promoted us to. Well, he didn't promote us to skate. He just wanted to sell his old boards. So, but he had a ramp. No, but he was our local hero. So we go skate his ramp, which
Right.
is we were so stoked to met Christian there the first time, and Stedham and all
How
these
old
other
were
guys.
you?
Oh man, we talked about the number age thing. God, I don't know. That's probably 10, 11, 12, getting into it at that point.
Okay.
And then starting to, it was probably older than that, probably 12ish or whatever.
And
but
you knew who all these guys were. You were fans at this point. 12 years old. I don't know.
no,
Maybe-
12 years old.
maybe
No, I must have been older than that. I must have been
15, 16 maybe?
13, 14
Oh,
or
really?
whatever.
Okay.
But then at that point, I'd already skated I was already skating Lakewood for a while, and I think that closed down. And I think I skated Whittier one day with Eddie, right before it closed down. That's the first time I saw Christian skate as a kid. And I think his board just came out on Sims. He had that the one board with the Japanese sun, whatever his
Yes.
first board.
Yes.
Yeah, and when I saw, and Eddie was skating really good. I think he was a top am at that time, so he was already killing the vert, and there's some other guys there. But when I saw Christian skate, that was another level.
I'm sure.
He skated the little combi thing, and he was so smooth, did air so big. I mean, I've skated with him some sessions, man. That guy was Tony was one thing and he was another thing, but he was always so good and so consistent. I go, oh, that's what skateboarding is. I was blown away, and it's just so smooth. And I was always into let's just do airs. I think that's the first day I ever did a air out of a backyard pool or out of a pool was that day at Whittier. And then
just from seeing Christian.
No, I didn't. Before we
You
left,
were trying.
Yeah, I was
okay.
already trying. I got it. Eddie showed me how to do, and I was like, I got air out of a pool. This is amazing. And then I saw Christian. I go like, God, I suck.
Yeah,
but this is
he's on another level.
He's on such an other level. Even then. So it was amazing. So that's that. I was kind of like was doing the Vert thing first, and then then street kind of came. We were still hitting the streets, and I always credit like Lance and Powell, like my buddy Pastors Dune.
Mm-hmm.
He said it before in an interview before, and I totally agree with it. Those old first clips of like Lance skating in the Powell videos. Now Lance was already becoming this known pro for Powell, rad style and all. But the fact of him pushing around the streets and doing some slappies or board slides or the little wall ride things. And we were just like, oh my God, we can go and skate and do things like Lance. That was such a thing for us to go out, like, let's really hit the streets. And we started like, I know everybody's like, oh, Rodney did the first ollie and stuff. I think the evolution of skateboarding, it would have gotten there anyway because
Totally.
we weren't going to contests at that time. So we never saw anything. We used to go to junior high. And, I remember we were all skateboarders, but we saw this one surfer dude, and he's going, and he took his board to school. What a breakthrough. And he was going to school, but he was doing that surfer, up the nose, tail thing, up the curbs. We're going, oh, I look so lame. And we got boards. So we got lappers on our boards. Mm-hmm. And we thought I thought the lapper, we all thought the lapper was for, you could go and just ram up a curb.
Sure.
We thought it was for, no, it was more like for pools and board sliding and something like that. That's what it was. So we got the lappers and we're going at curbs just like full bore, full speed, boom, just locking up,
bonking up there.
Locking up. And so we thought you had to kind of ram it up a little. So we started kind of skidding our nose or tail to kind of to go up over it. So we just started kind of awling, and it was like, curbs have the little divider thing. So you go up, you pop up, and we see if we can get past that little 4-inch.
The little
on top.
Yeah, so if you can get up the top. But
Right.
then that turned into, let's see how far we can go into the block. Then we do the whole concrete block and then 2 doubles. And if you could do however more we could do. So we already started we got into awling stuff.
You were essentially alling with the help of the lapper and the curb.
Yeah, but then we had to realize we had to skip the lapper. And if you kick your tail enough, you don't need the
Right.
lapper at all. Because that thing was just, we were just like slamming, just some kids going to this curb and
Yeah.
locking up. And then,
No, from what you're saying, for sure. It would have evolved
Yeah.
into that anyway.
Yeah.
But it's super interesting. So the lappers before my time. So, but I would have done. Yeah.
You didn't have the bird on your board?
Bird.
There was another one. This one was for curbs. I think it was called the bird. The tracker lapper was like this.
Yeah.
It was this long plastic piece that went on the board like this.
From where? From like the middle of the board?
From the middle of the board, yeah.
All the way up to the truck.
Yeah, all the way to the truck.
What?
So we're like, we gotta get that. But
How would you install that? Screws?
But just screws. You screw it into the
Like
board.
rails.
Yeah.
But
Rails.
why was it that shape?
I think it was just so you could hit it and go up a curb.
It's like it's
Must
like
have
a track almost.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
helping you get up.
So they go, that's what we need to get. But we're like, we're not gonna pay for that.
But I wonder if that was short lived because obviously lappers, were big. But
Yeah.
I never heard of the bird.
Yeah, the bird was around. It's probably with Nash skateboards.
Okay.
Look it up.
Do you remember that? Do you guys ever hear about Nash skateboards?
Of course.
You guys know
Yeah.
Nash, sure.
Definitely.
Oh, when I was starting to skate, that was like it was in like Target or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But wasn't it a good company at one point?
I don't think it was ever a good company.
I could have sworn like I heard that they made legit skateboards and then it went into like that. Is that true in any way?
I don't know. I just remember when that thing came about, when skateboarding started doing well. I remember Stacy Peralta, when Stacy told me, he's like, hey, if you start seeing this thing, you start seeing the terrible ads with the board, and they have a crocodile on the bottom, and they probably had the bird on there too, whatever.
Okay.
And you look at these terrible boards, because if you see those in magazines, that's good, because they're actually spending money to try to, because there's a lot of people that are getting into skating. So that's the beginning vehicle for them to want to get these cheaper $49 boards, and then it's going to turn into getting these boards or maybe your guys' boards down the line.
Oh,
And I go, oh yeah, that's totally true. And then I think I don't know, was it till the late 90s or early 2000s when everybody, started making like Foundation made completes, Dark Star, World, they make completes, and they're going, yeah, they should. Why should these guys be getting these,
Right.
Why not have these cheaper boards? Not quality-wise, the quality was better, but have these beginner boards for people to get into what we're doing,
And it's funny that you're talking about this because also Chet Thomas, who we'll talk about him,
Yeah.
I'm sure, you skate with him a lot. He doing Dark Star, and they put Dark Star boards in these big box stores.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that like when you buy a board from a big box store, those things barely roll.
Yeah.
That kid is not going to have a good experience with their
they were
with
terrible.
their first skateboard.
Horrible.
So Chet Thomas and these guys like Dark Star are putting, the cheaper boards in those big box stores that will actually work.
Oh, I thought you meant the Dark Star boards were a piece of crap.
No.
Thanks
no.
a lot. Chet's gonna call me and go, dude, what the hell? I thought it was good for skateboarding.
No, but
yeah, I know you. Yeah, sorry.
For sure,
I
for sure.
misunderstood
So
that,
it's like it's a win-win. Like you said, like those kids, then now they're going to have a good experience, and now they'll, either stay with Dark Star or move on and buy our boards or whoever's out there.
Yeah.
Just like you're saying.
And it's supporting that team too, the Dark Star team.
Yeah.
For sure.
A lot of those guys are supported by those sales.
Yeah.
And it's funny how like people can misconstrue that,
Yeah.
like this normal skater, oh, that's selling out or what, It's like, if you look deeper into it, it helps skateboarding.
Yeah. Because the
100%.
hardcore market, the guys that are making it, you don't make a lot of money making boards
tough.
or anything
It's
like
tough.
that. In fact, that's how Dark Star got started. I was just doing subcontracted work and Hyper Wheels in Huntington Beach or Costa Mesa. I was doing a bunch of stuff for them, and then they were like, we got to compete with, our competitors, Spitfire. I'm like, Spitfire is a team. They're great wheels and they're all this other things, but you guys don't even have a team. And they're like, oh, well, do you want to put something together? I'm like, all right, well, if I did that, and I go, well, I hit Chet up. I go, well, and Chet was on fire. He's one of the top pros. I'm like, dude, you want to try to start a wheel company with me? And he's like, yeah. I go, if I do all the branding, graphics, I'll do this end of it. And then you bring on the team and you manage them and we'll work together on it. He's like, yeah, let's do it. But I was getting so busy with the stuff that I was doing. And I go, man, you don't make, the percentage of the hardcore market is like 5%.
Hard goods are tough.
Yeah, hard goods are good. And I was like,
Right.
I can't do it right now. And I got some other stuff going on. And Chet's like, well, do you mind if I do it? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So he went, put it together, and he's like, came back like a couple weeks later. He's like, I spent, $5,000 or $10,000. I think $5,000 on a bunch of wheels, and I'm going to call it Dark Star. And I'm like, oh, what's Dark Star? I didn't get it. But he's like, we're doing this. But he basically did it the best way. He still approached these, I forget who the first, 3 or 4 guys where he went to a trade show with, I think, just talked to the international distributors. Went, here's a list of our wheels on a piece of paper. Here are the writers. And international was great because whenever they bought product, they bought everything up front. They pay up to half. And so he basically got everything paid for before he ordered it. Boom, in and out, sold it, doubled it, tripled it, whatever, and killed it.
It's smart.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You got to do that. Yeah.
But that's the part of it it's not glamorous. It's the sport of it. But I mean, if you're gonna live in skateboarding, then you have to, you're gonna be a sellout because you have to.
It's
turn stuff over.
It's
No
tough.
doubt.
It's
Yeah.
tough. Hard goods is tough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that. It's so. I mean, shout out Chet Thomas. I mean, he's got the board company Dark Star
Yep.
and wheels now too.
Yeah.
So can we go back to your backyard ramp and growing up and seeing all those dudes skating and stuff like that? When did you actually start knowing, like, when you were skating with these guys, like, okay, I'm getting good enough to get like sponsored now, probably? Or did that even cross your mind? Was it just
It was kind of a dream because I remember drawing. I always drew, and I remember even drawing like those when I was a kid, like Brad Bowman, the BB logo thing. And I remember doing the SS logo version, even though it's Superman, but I was doing the SS thing I was already doing kind of these board graphic things. So I always kind of had the dream there. I was always inspired by Cab, like Stevie Cab. And like I remember Scott Frost, like the Powell scene and looking at the magazines and Cab. There's this one issue, I think he was writing a Ray-Bones, which was my first board that I ever bought. I remember looking kind of like, yeah, that would be awesome. But just the dream of like, I was a kid going to I was going to like Lakewood, camouflage shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie had the fluorescent yellow. I had the mustard colored crappy helmet. I had the crappy pads, but I tried to emulate him.
Sure.
I had the Powell board, but I had laser trucks and Powerflix wheels. It's like I had the ghetto setup.
Okay.
But still, I always had that dream, and it just kind of started like the dream was always there. But I remember skating Eddie's, and I remember skating with Christian one time. And she seems so much older, but I'm actually a couple months older than him. But he was like I already started doing like little inverts on the bottoms, or doing like varial inverts, or like varial air things, or what. And he started calling me Trixie. He's like, "Oh, hey, check it out, it's Trixie," and like, "Oh, this is rad." And
did that nickname stick?
For a little while.
Okay.
For a little while. I've had tons of nicknames. We won't talk about Moose or anything, but that's in the story.
So when you go watch the Tony Hawk, Hawk versus Wolf.
I remember one of those sessions. It's the first time I met Gonz. Mark showed up, and he was barely getting flowed by Alva, and Christian was the guy that was doing it, right? So even then, I remember the way he skated. I just learned rock and rolls, and it was like a mini ramp side and then a higher side. So this side was 6, maybe the side was 4.5 or something. And I remember him doing these rock and rolls, and he was doing the first time when he rolled his foot. The back foot upside down. And I'm like, oh yeah? I just learned rock and rolls. I'm going to do that. So I just noted, but I didn't know the technique of how he did it. I'm goofy foot, so it's like this foot like this. I went up and I thought you had to roll your foot this way.
And then break your ankle.
I went over and I went like this. I stopped on a rock and roll and I rolled my foot this way, and I did almost break my ankle, and I flipped into the ramp this way because I locked myself up. Luckily, I didn't break my ankle, but even then, I was trying to be Gonz. Like he was still had something there.
He had that.
Yeah, he already had that. He just had such good style and such good flow, but I could already see the way he was as a person too. He said the funniest thing. We're sitting there and I'm like, it's like Eddie, he was a hero, and Christian, and people hanging out, and like, you don't talk shit to those guys. And I remember Christian going, "Hey, why are you skating a cab board?" And he was skating the Stevie cab board that had like no tail on it. Wow. It was just gone. And Mark goes, it's like, "Oh, I don't want to skate that. I hate that board." He's like, "I'd rather skate a small cab board with no tail than skate your board." And I'm sitting there going,
wow.
To Christian
You
Assoy.
said that to Christian? I was like, holy hell. And Christian's all, what the hell's wrong with you, kid? Christian was like laughing it off, but I was like, the cojones on this fucker.
To your face.
Yeah. He was just, that's what he liked, and that's what he did. And it was just hilarious. But
I could totally see Christian doing that too.
Yeah,
just the expression you made right there, like shit.
Yeah, boy, son. I think he said something like, "Man, you better check that bus schedule going home from Long Beach to Venice." I think he said something like that. It was hilarious. But even back then, he was just and then, like later on, just starting to skate with him and going to contests and
oh my god.
But that's the point where it was getting a little bit more serious, and then I think shortly after that we started going to contests because that was the thing.
Yes.
So we went to I kind of always think we started this. There was a contest in Oceanside. There was 2 of them that I was in as an amateur. So one of them we went to because it's they're doing street style thing. But you had to be sponsored. It was like a vicious circle. Like, how do you get sponsored? You have to enter a contest. I can't enter a contest. So we said that we were.
Could you be board shop sponsored? Or
there was no board sponsored.
Nothing.
Nothing like that. So we actually, one of my friends, Chris Lee, he actually skated for Sims, and my brother skated for Vision. But my brother wasn't skating with us then. But my buddy was. Oh, he wasn't even.
Is your brother older or younger?
Younger.
Okay.
We're 18 months apart.
Oh, so he was getting sponsored before you?
No. He was BMXing with all of his buddies. Because he kind of did opposite of what I did. It's like, I'm doing. He's like, nah, I'm gonna go. I'm biking with my buddies.
I'm over here. Yeah. I'm over here, bro.
Yeah. He's like, and he actually got really good. But then all of his BMX buddies, whatever, they left. So he's like, oh, I gotta skate with you guys. So he started kind of really getting into it, like, I don't know, almost 3 years after I did. But he like, I always loved his style, and he was just really hardcore, and he caught up to all of us like really quick.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, but he Yeah.
So the contest.
So the contest,
Yeah.
my brother was barely starting to get into skating with us all the time. We go and we just talk to our local skate shop, El Dorado skate shop in Lakewood, bordering Long Beach. So they're surf shop, skate shop. That's where we get all of our stuff. We asked the guy Neil Imes, like, hey, can we say we skate for you guys, and we'll make some stickers or something, and just so we can enter the contest, see we're sponsored. And he's all, well, that's a good idea. I'll start a team. And we're like, oh, cool. So we went there and we're like, got our El Dorado crappy screen shirt. We're all proud. We're like, who do you skate for? Madrid or we're like, Santa Cruz? Like, no, El Dorado.
They're like, what
El Dorado?
the
That's
fuck
a
is
Texas
El Dorado?
team. They're like, no, it's a skate shop. And I remember what's her name that ran Castle in NSA. Oh God, Sonia.
Sonia.
Sonia. You were Sonia. Yeah.
yeah.
Sonia. And she's like, she had that. If you'd probably been to the same
yeah.
contest where she's looking at you like, what are you trying to get away with?
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we're in the, so they let us get in there. And a bunch of our other homies that were skating around like LA and stuff too were like, how'd you guys get in? We're like, oh, we did the shop thing. And then sure enough, the next one, couple more guys, all these other shops that are popping up. And then the next 2 years or so, it just turned into this, like, there's so many, they go like, okay, screw this. We need a shop division.
Okay.
thing.
Oh, so they created a whole shop division.
Yeah. So we're looking to collect royalties for that. We want some kind of payback.
Started from El Dorado Skate Shop.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
By the way, we're out of time, man.
Oh, it's been great. Great.
So we actually went over a couple minutes, but
Oh, we'll just bullshit a little bit more.
no, but isn't that it? It's so interesting though. It's just that how things morph and change. Just like by you guys doing that. Now all of a
Right.
sudden they got like a shop division and this and that. They had to like, because a
'cause there
lot of
was-
people were following the lead.
And skateboarding was starting to get big again towards the late 80s. It was becoming like this, they had a thing in the 70s, but it was starting to become this global thing where a lot of people were just really getting into it. I mean,
Right.
that's, like I would said before, like that's why even I have a reissue board now, because, or that we're kind of reflect so much on that time. And so many people go like, once you skated for, somebody else said this, once you skate for like, 5 years or something like that, you consider yourself like a skater, and you're always going to have that kind of mentality.
Yes.
And you bring it into your whole, like, I just like old, there's some old guys that hit me up about like, hey, can you sign this board? I'm gonna send you something. I want to get your board or whatever. But they wrote it the first time, and they still consider themselves like part of their nature, their personality. They're they're skateboarders. They're proud of it.
I love it. I love it.
And so all of us are. That's all. Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of these reissues too. It's like there's that. There are those people that are looking for their first board. Their first board was a Steve Saiz.
Yeah.
And they can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the only way they can get it.
Yeah. I same thing with me. I just put together this old Raybones board. I'm still looking for the orange one, and I want them to possibly reissue
Was
the
it
one
your
that I
first
had.
board?
Raybones, yeah. I had the orange one with the nose.
What was the whole kit?
Yeah, so it was that board and with laser trucks, and lasers had this weird base plate thing. And it said laser across them. They were a cheaper truck, and then Powerflex wheels. Well, Powerflex wheels were these squared off Powerflex. You remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were. I mean, I think Jim Grach had to he reissued those wheels or did something.
This
with
was the crappy board you were just talking about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the one.
Okay.
The heartbreaking thing about that, I'm in El Dorado. I get the board. I go, oh, I got my board. Because we mowed lawns in my area to make money, and I go, well, I got it. My dad's all, no, you're making your own money to get this flyby thing you're doing, the skateboarding thing. Why don't you just go to hula hoop or something instead? It's cheaper. I got the whole board. Dude, I'm gonna go skate this. I'm gonna go to Lakewood. This is awesome. Like, cool. And then I'm sitting there waiting, and he's like, "What are you waiting for, kid?" I'm like, "Well, the grip tape." It's like, "Well, that's another $5." I'm like, I think
Wait a
there was,
minute, you didn't even have grip tape?
No, I didn't think that. I thought grip tape just came with the board. I didn't even realize I had to pay for bolts or anything like that or bearings.
Get the whole thing.
I was just like, what? I go, oh, can't I? And they're like, no, so I had to.
They wouldn't even comp you some grip?
Nope, no comp grip.
Damn.
Yeah, I should have walked away from Neil back then in El Dorado. But
Oh, Neil.
hell, Neil. No, but so I had to wait a week, and it just having that board sitting at my house just was killing
It's
me.
so funny.
my
I'm
gosh.
surprised you didn't even like try to like adhere like sandpaper, or you hear these people these stories.
God.
Go look in
about
the garage. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, what do I got here?
I don't know. Maybe I did.
You had to wait a week though.
I had to
That's
wait
torture.
a week. Torture. Yeah. So then I get it put on, and
What, you saved up enough money to buy all the rest of it?
yeah.
How
yeah.
much were you? $5.
Yeah,
I mean,
$5.
listen, back then,
Yeah,
sure.
you barely had that much.
This was in the
Yeah.
early '70s, right?
God, probably.
This is a random question. How much would you charge for mowing a lawn? Because I remember back then when I
You
was a
gotta go
kid,
back,
it would be
dude.
like
I think it's like
50 cents
no,
or
it's like
something.
it's a nickel.
I still get a nickel. A nickel.
You know what I mean?
But a
Like-
nickel went a long way back then. That was like a tank of gas.
Yeah,
You take a
like
girl out on a
movies.
date.
It's like 4 loaves of bread.
You could watch a movie.
Yeah, I remember the movies my dad was telling me. He's like, yeah, we'd go to
With a
movies for like a
projector.
dime or something.
Yeah, I'm like-
something nuts like
Well,
that.
he was,
My
he was a
parents,
big
too.
spender.
Yeah, yeah.
In the time.
All right, come on. It wasn't that long.
No, but a couple bucks to mow a lawn.
No, I thought we were like $5-10
Okay,
maybe.
you just-
$5 or something. Enough to get some grip ticket. That much.
There you
sure.
go. There you go.
$5 to $10 at least.
So you finally got it on.
Yeah.
Went to
Lakewood Skate Park.
Skate Park.
Yeah. I
How
was just so stoked.
best session ever?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that
I think I learned
So
inverts
bad, yeah.
on this ledge thing. Like it was kind of out, you know. I was just so
Mm-hmm.
stoked. I mean, I remember having I was so young. I think I even cried. I had a skid plate on the bottom, and when the skid plate kind of wore away and it fell off, I go, "Now what am I gonna do?" I was like, just so upset. So
When did the skid plate vanish?
I don't know.
When did the skid? When was
That
like
probably-
enough with the skid plate?
I'd say that started to linger away around the late 80s, 90s. I think it was gone by the 90s.
It was gone by the '90s for
Yeah.
sure.
So the late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s. Because I remember, I think it was before I was all powelled out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I got on, I was still even had like they had tail rails, like their rails, handrail, like the regular side rails, board rails. And then
On
they
your
had smaller
tail.
ones. Yeah, I had rails on my tail,
Towards
and,
the
and I had
tail, yeah.
there was a tailbone was the top, but they had the other. I don't know if Powell still called it.
But did you have the front plastic thing? I don't even know. The
nose guard?
Nose
Yeah.
guard?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't have a nose guard at that
That
point.
was gone,
Yeah,
okay.
that was already gone.
The
But-
nose guard went first.
Yeah, I think
assume.
so.
Right.
I think
Then
that was
then probably the. Oh, you said you had the tail rails
Yeah, tail
after
rails. Yeah.
the tail guard?
Yeah, but the tail rails were there, and I still had the skid plate. Because I remember I had
Oh,
pictures.
you still had the skid
Yeah,
plate.
I was in like high school.
coincide.
Yeah,
Ah.
it was probably '86 because I remember having pictures of me skating Del Mar, and I started getting better. Like I was doing airs out, hand like on inverts, hand on coping.
Okay.
I was doing all that, but I remember having an orange Lance Mountain board, and I had those rails on my tail.
I don't even know what I'm sorry. I don't even know. I don't
So
even
you
know
have a
these tail
skid.
rails.
You'd have a skid plate, and then you
Sure.
have these small rails that kind of connect to it. So
But
like
what's
your
the
board
point?
wouldn't even. Hey,
They-
save your board. Save your board.
Yeah, save your board.
But you already have the skid plate.
You have the
I
skid
know.
plate, but
So
now
what are
we're
these
starting
other
to do
two
we're-
extra
we're
pieces
starting to
of
do we're starting to
plastic?
do tail slides. Man, you didn't mow any lawns. You didn't want to mow that many lawns to get this tail plate. You got to realize that.
Just having the skid plate would be off a little bit.
Yeah.
So having those little extra little rails would kind of keep
Oh,
it
you're telling me
off.
because the skid plate was like bowed out.
Yeah,
It was like
you can be like sliding all weird, but you add these little fucking little extra, then you're sliding.
You're solid.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's slide good, but it was protecting
Yeah.
the graphic
why not
of the
make
board.
the skid plate straight? Why make it a bubble?
just get rid of it.
Thank
There you go.
Just get rid of
God
it.
they did.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
So yeah,
Shit.
so yeah, made boards a lot lighter, but yeah, about that point, that's when that stuff started going away. There's just too much stuff on the board.
Late
Wow,
80s.
so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, because when did you turn pro for Powell 80,
89.
89-ish?
I think 89. Yeah.
Okay. How was that? I mean, you went from like skating these like, parks, the contest, street, shop sponsored. Then what was a defining moment? How did you even get on Powell?
Yeah, how
let's,
did you-
let's start there.
Yeah, how did you get
So
sponsored?
we were talking about that Oceanside contest, right?
Yeah.
We did the sponsor thing. So I did well, and I think it's because I was kind of already ahead of the game with the Ollie thing. Like they had a stage there, and I think about I was really stoked to think about this. My brother brought it up. He's like, "Do you remember you were doing frontside rock and rolls on that stage?" And I don't know, the stage was bigger
Be like
than this.
You jump up on this.
Yeah,
and do
so
it,
I was
yeah.
doing an ollie up to it and doing a frontside rock on.
Where
it.
was the stage?
The stage is like you ever seen those old
Where was it though? What,
Oceanside, by the
Oceanside.
pier? Yeah,
Okay.
so it's like a stadium,
Yeah.
and then they had the arena, like the little place where bands are playing.
Is that where Gons did the rail? No.
No, I don't think Gonz ever did that rail there.
But there's a bunch of flat ground there, right?
Yeah, it was all like flat.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
it's
like
all
this
flat
big
ground.
flat
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
So
Okay, gotcha.
they had that bench out, like a little straight bench, and quarter pipes and board slide stuff too. So
Okay.
yeah, I did well there. I ended up getting 5th place, which was like blown away. Like with all these other guys, these Santa Cruz guys and the Powell guys, that are like everybody. But
This is like kind of freestyle-ish almost, or is
no, it was a street contest.
Okay, okay.
They started calling it street style.
Okay.
So they had that, and I remember. So we had free skating afterwards, and I remember it was one of my friends came up. I think it was Ratty came up to me. He goes, "Hey, Stacy wants to talk to you."
And you're like Stacy Jones.
Peralta? Yeah, and I'm already pal kitted out too. And he's like, no, he wants to talk to you. I'm like, oh, really? So I go up there, and it was the most intimidating thing. It's like Stacy, and it was Craig Stesick and Fausto, and then there's Christian and Cab and Lance. Those guys are all hanging out.
Oh, wow.
Like all my
How
heroes and stuff.
intimidating
Yeah.
to walk
Hell
up to
yeah.
that.
And I'm
group.
just going like, oh, holy crap. And he's like, hey, I don't know what we're doing. We're thinking about doing like a street team or something. So we're looking for some people. So, maybe are you skating for anybody now or anything? I'm like, no. So it's like, well, do you want to get some boards, from us and just get on the flow? I'm like, oh, the flow sounds great, whatever that is.
the flow.
Yeah.
Down for the
good.
flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So, so he just kind of started giving me stuff after that point. And it's so funny. I remember he was giving me his take on what he thought street skateboarding was. He's like, look, everybody like you guys is starting to go into the streets. And we think like, he was talking about him and Craig. Like, we think it's going to be like, and Fausto too, we're like, this is going to be where skateboarding is going. And I can't
This
believe
was like early 80s.
this is like 85.
Okay, mid 80s.
85, 80,
Gotcha,
yeah, 85, 86 maybe. And I remember, this must have been at least 86. And I remember, I can't believe I said this to him. I was like, what are you, crazy? I go, this isn't going to be bigger than like Vert. This isn't going to be bigger than like, Tony's Inverts or, Christian's Air or, Stevie or all these guys. I go, there's no way that this is going to be bigger than like, look at those guys jumping off the ramp. It's ridiculous. And he's like, nope, it's going to be, and sure enough, that's everybody. Because he's all like, no, it's going to be accessible. Because even I know in going to a ramp, you had to find somebody who had a ramp, which is really cool. I love that, we found places in Lakewood or wherever, like you look over a yard that I love that culture part of it. But the fact that you could just put on your gear or not, you don't have to put on your gear. You don't put on pads or anything. You go out, just hit the streets, go whatever. Yeah.
Were you skating pools back then too? Or
No, not pools. No.
Okay.
The only pool I kind of skated was Upland and Del Mar. But Del Mar was kind of almost like a half pipe. You didn't really skate it like a pool. And then Upland was rad because I spent some time there, but you carved around, you did these other lines, but I never did any backyard pool stuff. A little bit, but it wasn't until, I was working at DC during, I was working at DC Shoes. We're skating the DC ramp all the time, but we started going to like the Combi, like the one in Orange.
Bands,
Oh,
yeah. And then parks started popping up, and I was like, oh, okay, well, skate vert like this, and it switched over from vert ramps to actually pool kind of ramps. And
That's way later that you're talking about.
yeah,
right?
way
Yeah.
later. Yeah. After so many surgeries and everything else. And,
So you got summoned to go meet Stacy.
Yeah.
I'm picturing this like mob, like movie. It's like bring him here,
Yeah.
bring him here to the table. Street's gonna be taken over. You're the man.
yeah.
You're our guy.
We chose you.
You're the
Yeah, it was the funniest thing. I remember the dumbest game, and just to show how young we were at the time. The night before the contest, and me and my buddies are all like, "We're all gonna go. We're all gonna enter." So we were. I think they gave us a packet of or we had a bunch of stickers or something. So with me and my friends were like probably 5 of us in the room. We're like, all right, tomorrow we're going to. So everybody picks reaches into the bag. Whatever stickers you pull out, that's going to be your board sponsor. This is going to be your wheel sponsor.
Oh,
This
wow.
is
You see
your
that
truck
as a
sponsor.
kid, like
So we're already
it's a cool game.
I like that.
It's a cool
And
game. Yeah.
I pulled out Powell,
Okay.
pulled out Bones, pulled out Indy.
Tracker? No,
No
Indie.
tracker. No,
Okay.
because I was getting fluid by Indy first because they had me on there. Steve kind of made me switch over a little bit, but I mean that was fine. He made me meet Brian Ridgway, and that made me switch over. but that was afterwards. But yeah,
So you pulled out Powell, Indy,
and Bones Wheels, and I think it was so all of the and then I also Quicksilver too because I surfed too, so
Okay.
I wanted to ride for like Quicksilver because Cab did, and I think Christian did for a little while too, and I mean Spidey did, and I thought, oh, Powell's cool,
Yeah.
and I could since I surf, I'll get all the surf stuff too.
who got the Nash sticker?
Yeah,
No.
probably one of my buddy Eric's. He doesn't skate anymore.
But you know, I'm sorry. You know what? When I mentioned about Nash being a good company, wasn't it Veriflex that was maybe?
Oh, Veriflex. Yeah, Veriflex had Lance and those guys. So they kind of got, I think that maybe who
They
you're
went to
thinking
the
about.
they went to the mall.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head because I would heard that one of those brands was decent at one point, then went that route.
Yeah.
I had a Nash growing up, and it was just like my neighbor had given it to me. It was
Yeah.
like this little banana board
Yeah.
Nash type.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I got on and it was so funny because I was just waiting for Stacy to call me. He's like, yeah, I'll call.
After the conversation you had.
Yeah,
with
after the
him.
conversation. He gives me his number. He takes my number. Cool. So I'm just sitting by the phone for like 2 months or something. And he finally calls like, oh, yeah, you're not one of my friends messing with me. Yeah. He's I'll send you some stuff. That's even a longer wait.
Could you imagine too? It's like there's no. Was there an answering machine? I mean, they
There
were
was an
just
answering
coming.
machine,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's like that. You can't miss that call. Yeah, there's no cell phones.
Yeah,
There's no mom, dad. There's somebody that's supposed to be calling.
Yeah.
His name's Stacy.
Yeah.
Wherever I am, you come get me.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and it probably wasn't even that long, but when you're a kid and this is what you want, this is your dream, it just seems like every day, every moment, it's painstaking.
2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And he's busy as
days.
anything. He's running the company. He's in Silver Lake to Santa Barbara, going back and forth. So, and then I don't know, it was maybe a month and a half later, I got that package, and it was like the like a big white Powell rippers on the side of it package thing. I remember we were going somewhere with the family, and I'm going, oh, I'm not to go. Like, no, my dad's all, we're leaving right now. I go, hell no, I'm opening this thing right now. I go inside and I rip it, and I get the like. When I was talking to Stacy about it, I go, he's like, so what do you need? I go, oh man, and I go, if I could get a board, I would be so. And he's just like, yeah, don't worry, I'll get. What are you writing, Lance? You want some Lance? You want some Tommy? Whatever. I go, yeah, if I get one of those, he's like, oh, yeah, hook you up. And I was like, oh, thanks. It's like, well, wheels do you ride? What do you want? I go, wheels too? And he gets stickers and all. So, and then I got like just, I don't know, I think 5 boards and, like, I got, like, that's one thing I did ask for. I wanted the red Ripper jacket that Stevie wore. There's him at a faction show, and I thought it was the coolest thing. He's all hanging out, and it's like over shoulder wearing that jacket. I'm like, that's the coolest. Yeah. I wore that thing like every day.
I mean, 5 boards. That's a lot. I mean, those boards lasted a while, right? Back then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like you're skating like one a month at least.
Oh,
no?
God, longer than that.
Longer than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
longer than that. Yeah, skateboard's
definitely.
longer than that.
And you get the wheels
At
too.
that time, at those times, for sure.
Yeah.
Damn.
So yeah, that lasted me a while too, and that stuff you didn't want to stop skating it,
And
Right.
what are you doing in return in that? Like, are you just like skating the contest in it, or what, are you just skateboarding? Like,
Yeah,
what,
like, are you on now?
like,
or
what does that mean?
Well, he said he kept calling me. He goes, I don't know what we're doing with the Powell thing, with the street thing, but I think we're gonna do it. That's right. I got a couple conversations like that. That were like, we don't know we're doing a Powell street thing, whatever, but we want to keep you in mind for the whole thing. And I was stoked. And then he goes like, we still don't know what we're doing with the street thing, but we just want you on. So we know you've been kind of doing contests and you're doing well. So we just want you on. See where it goes. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So that was the beginning of that.
At this point in time, what Powell videos have been coming out?
I think there was
Like when you first started getting your boxes.
yeah, the showcase.
Okay.
And this was before
The showcase.
Future Primitive. Because I was on Powell and I went to the premiere of the showcase.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah. So that was a huge. It was such a trip, just sitting there and going to that thing, and like Grosso, I think Grosso was on Powell at the time, and going there and hanging out with like. I was sitting next to Tommy, and he was just the coolest guy ever. Like just meeting him, like, oh man, and
Tommy Guerrero?
Yeah, Tommy Guerrero, and he's like, hey, want a beer? I'm like, oh, can I get a beer with? Yeah, hell yeah! It was like the coolest night ever. and watching Future Primitive, and I watched that thing like a million times.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the beginning,
Classic.
Monty's thing and Neil's in it, skits, and the Vert stuff was so rad. And I was just starting to go to Lance's too, so and then like the street stuff was like, oh, everything that Tommy did, we're just like, oh, you got a 360 off a bump, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got like we just like every little thing that he did, we're just clocking like crazy. So it was there was just such an exciting time because I said it before recently. I go, we didn't know what was going on. You didn't, and it was the beginning
I was about to say.
it was the beginning of street skating. They didn't know if it was going to be a thing or not, but all of us were doing it, and it's like, oh, I don't know why I started skating with my friends, and there was this thing at the by the convention center in Long Beach. It's not there anymore. I think there was a Costin had did these like the 4 or 5 rail things in a row in one of the videos, but on the other side, I think there was like a little stage thing, but it had these 4 drops. But it was a long time ago, and I was like, oh, it's there. Let's ollie down it. Let's go down it. And being like, sitting there, go, I don't know if I could do it. But if it's just there, we had this thing in our mind, well, we got to try it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then that was the beginning of like, we all have that sickened disease where you can't go anywhere. We're thinking like, if I go off that planner and you go across here and you could hit that rail and then you can go into that, like you always
Right.
see everything. Yeah. Everything's another world. And I remember Stesic, we were shooting this handrail something somewhere, and he was all like, it was by LA Courthouse or something, and we're just sitting there resting, and there's these guys coming by with their suits and their things, and he's just looking at me like, look at these guys. They don't even know you're working right now. He doesn't even know, but you're skating this road. This is your workplace.
Sure.
This is a thing.
Yeah.
And he was already, and I was at the time I was going like, what the heck is he talking about? But I mean, later on I go, oh yeah, he was a visionary. He was already going like, no, you're looking at the world and all of these things that people build. Oh, they didn't even realize they built the side of this building. It's a big transition.
Right.
Yeah.
This is it's their playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on our playground, we all worked there too. It ended up being somewhere we worked. Ledges, like whoever thought,
my
like
God,
I go,
right?
this guy builds this ledge park thing.
I know, right?
This is going to be great. They're going to come out here and eat their lunches. It's like, no, it's going to turn into one of the most iconic skateboard places in
Ever.
the world.
They were probably, imagine how confused
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like all these designers were like, what is going on here?
I go,
how do we design the best skate spots of all time?
Yeah.
But not trying to.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it just evolved. And back then, I just go, man, it's just, hydrants are a thing. Oh, we got to find the best hydrants with the best like little ramp thing, or
Right.
it's
Curb
just
cut.
No, but by
Yeah.
default too, they made the best skates like with brick. There's brick there, so it wasn't really supposed to be a skate spot, but it really is
Yeah.
a good skate
Yeah.
spot. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause
Sure.
if they wanted it would have been a smooth little area.
Yeah.
man.
You know.
Yeah.
That would have been a totally different zone if that would have been the case.
Yeah, I skated there one day. Went there with Tommy and Thebo, and oh my God, it's like I remember it from watching the old Animal Chin thing, and it's not what I thought it was. I was like, wait, where is everything? And it's just this section, and then you had to skate the right way of the bricks, and I didn't know that. And I was like, I was just like dumbfounded. I go, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just want to go do the Gonz Cap. Where is it? They're going, it's right there. Oh, that's where it is?
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did it.
You did it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
I did a. That's the only thing I did there was like a ollie. I thought I was just gonna get clowned, whatever, because like all these guys are just skating there, but everyone was really cool to me. But what did I do? I ollie. What is it? A melancholy grab, whatever. Yeah,
okay.
over it.
Method of melancholy. Yeah.
Yeah. That was it. So I was like,
that was it.
That's what it did. Oh, boom! I'm out. Okay, good.
Okay.
That'll work.
Nice.
Not too many people really, jumped over it, especially at that time.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like who did it that time? Yeah, it was a long time ago. 73.
All this happened in 73. Huh?
Why?
Like
73 was
73.
busy, man.
We are sitting with the pioneer
Yeah.
of skateboarding.
Van Halen just started playing together. It was awesome.
So was there the defining moment when you got on Powell? Or was it just like, was there like
Yeah.
a, hey, this is, because I feel like back then too, Powell was very like regimented in like how they did. I mean, they had a handbook for God's sakes. Like they had Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just like left in the air. Like, oh yeah, you're kind of this. Like when you're on, you're on.
No, yeah.
Did you get one of those handbooks by any chance?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah,
Wow.
at the one that I think you said
We had
Chet,
that one
Chet
right
gave you the
there.
one.
Yeah,
I think I gave that to Chet. He got rid of his or whatever, but I still had mine.
It's amazing.
But that was when I talked to Stacy, and then when he finally said, "Hey, we want you on that phone call," that was like, oh my God.
It was a phone call.
Yeah, it was a phone call when he told me, yeah, we want you on the team, not just a full thing. We want you just on the team. So I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll figure it out. Then I got my package, and then it started happening, and
Amazing.
then I just started kind of entering contests. But I was skated, both vert and street, but it.
But you were more of a street skater, right?
No, I was more of a street skater because I remember showing Stacy clips of like I showed my ramp and I'm like, dude, I learned frontside handbook. Somebody's like, yeah, that's cute, but how many handrails are you doing nowadays? No, he was kind of like he was just going like
he was pushing for the street.
Yeah.
pushing for the street a little bit. Yeah, but that was the thing too. And you got to look at where they're at. He's like, you got Tony, you got Lance, you got Stevie.
Like we're trying to let's division this out by a little bit.
Diversify a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, but for me, my mentality was skate everything. I always wanted to skate everything. Like, if there's a vert ramp, cool.
Right.
Street stuff, cool. Whatever. I just wanted to be able to
All terrain.
skate everything. Yeah, I thought that was like the funnest thing.
Was that when did Chet Thomas come along when you started skating with him?
Well, I was sponsored, and I started like I was for street. I became kind of like one of the top bands. Like I was doing well. So and at that point, I remember doing there was some demo in oh God, where was it? It was somewhere outside of Long Beach, and I saw Chet, a little kid too, and we were doing launch ramps was the big thing there. And for me, I was like launching. You got to go big, far, land, consistent, like, and everybody was just like, brah, brah. But then this one little kid is like, boom, and he's all linked super big, landing over here and doing everything with speed. And I was like, oh, he's going to be really good. And he was so small then too. He was so little, and I was like, okay, hey, you seem like you're rad. I talked to him. I go, how's about you want to flow you some boards or something and just see where you go with it or whatever and see you doing contests?
You were flowing him.
Yeah,
boards.
I started flowing him boards.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I started flowing him boards and he was doing better. I go, just enter contests and then I started taking him to contests with me. And then at one time I was like, Stacy, you got to see Chet. And I think this is the time. There was one time that we went to go see Guy Mariano one time at Burbank. I think it was Chet, him and I think. And there was this Val Surf demo thing that was kind of a big thing. Like, I think Jesse was there. I know Tommy. I think Rodney was there. Lance was definitely there. So it was a street, whatever thing. I think Thebo was there. And I think Chet and Guy got on Powell that day. Like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Stacy had already seen him. And Stacy already knew because I asked him, I go, hey, can I flow this kid? He's pretty good. And he's like, at that point, he put them both on.
Wow.
Sick.
So you were a big reason why those two getting on the team?
Yeah, but they never give me royalty checks. You did a shoe.
Can we get this guy a royalty check?
Yeah, get something.
Come on.
A little something.
I'm hungry. I'm still mowing lawns. What? Still
I hope you're charging a little more now.
Yeah.
$15.
Ooh,
It's elevated a little bit.
Listen, you could get a grip
Inflation,
tape
yeah.
and some stickers in one mow.
Got a screen on my lawnmower. Everything. Come on, I'm all out.
By the way, we were talking about the Powell Handbook.
Yeah.
Which people that don't know, it had like everybody's phone number in. It had like didn't even have like dress codes and like code of conducts and like it had like so much stuff of what Powell's all about and how what you should be about. It was very like structured.
I think even before, like when it was the Bones Brigade and people like this is Ray Bones Rodriguez era, I think, or Cab, or the early days. I think they wrote this kind of thing like be a brigade member, and here's our code of being on the thing. But it was kind of more fun. It was just about being on like the military thing. And then I think
But there's got to be some truth behind it too.
No, I think what happened at that point too, because Jesse Martinez was on there and he was so like down for Powell. And at one point, I guess him and our team manager had went out and they got the huge bar bill or something like that, and there was a fight going on, and then I remember somebody tried to beat up Lance, and Jesse stepped in the way and just like Lance was like, first time I ever saw somebody hit somebody, the guy just went in the air 3 feet and landed over here.
Shit.
But some guy was trying to beat up Lance and he wasn't having it, And and Jesse was, as much as he loved Powell, and I remember him getting a Powell tattoo. and he got it. But right afterwards, he was like, "No, I'm quitting Powell." I'm like, "Dude, you are Powell. You're gonna be like one of." He's like, "No." He's like, "I don't want to. I don't want to ruin the reputation, or it might be too gnarly, or whatever." And he wasn't that bad, but it was. I mean, in how I saw things going down, it just seemed like afterwards they had the code of conduct thing kind of started happening.
You think that was part of from Jesse Martinez?
No,
Wow,
I don't want to
spark.
say, but Jesse was always the raddest guy. He was
He's the
super
best.
good. He's
Hell
the
yeah.
best.
Love
and
that
and he
guy.
is rad, or as gnarly as he is. It's not like he even had a short fuse. I never felt like that guy was like, the psycho guy. It's like, no, he was in control and always super cool. But it was so rad for him to go like, dude, it's something you love and you're walking away from it. I was like, shh.
That's crazy.
That's pretty rad. I always respected that.
If there's anybody that embodies skateboarding more, it's Jesse Martinez. That man still goes down to the Venice skate park.
I just saw that a week
before
ago.
dawn.
Yeah.
And cleans up the whole
Yep.
damn park
Yeah.
so that people can skate there.
Yeah.
And he's
so
I don't
rad.
even think he gets paid from the city or not. He just that's what he
Yeah.
does.
He does. Are you sure he does that?
He still does it.
100%.
Still does. Since day one, he's
That's
still doing it.
amazing.
Because I thought about that like maybe a couple weeks ago, and I saw something, and somebody posted something, and Jesse was still there, still doing it.
Still doing it.
It's like his creation. It's like, he should be super proud of it. He's the one that put that all together.
Yeah.
And it's like his painting. Like, don't
Wow.
go, I would think
He
that.
takes care of it. He takes care of it.
Does he still have a spot right off the boardwalk?
I think he does. I mean, last I heard he did move somewhere
Okay.
else, but I'm not. I'm not sure. I can't speak for him, but
Yeah.
I don't know where he lives.
Yeah.
But I think he still goes down there all the time.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
At least
man.
he was for a while.
yeah.
Strong memory of that dude, man. He gave me my first board just randomly at Venice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. I don't want to hear this story.
No, I mean, I was just skating at Venice, and he just said, "Hey, man, follow me back to my house." And it was right off the boardwalk. That's why I'm like, if he's right off the boardwalk, that seems convenient for him to go clean up the park. But if you don't live close, then I mean, he's really doing a task in itself and doing that, though.
Yeah.
But anyways, I followed him back to his house, and he said, "Wait here 1 second." I waited in front of it, and he dropped down these are 1 or 2 boards. Either way, he dropped down 1 or 2 boards, and I was very thankful, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
and it
You
was
dropped him out from the window. He didn't even come back
Nah,
out.
he didn't come back out. I don't even
said,
think he
"There
came
you
back
go."
out.
That's
He was
cool
like,
enough,
"Here."
man.
Yeah,
Was
thank
it
you.
brand new or used?
Brand new.
Wow.
Wait, what were they?
Definitely.
Were they his board? Like a
They were
World
his
Industry
boards,
thing?
yeah. It was a World Industry board. Like, yeah, just I think one of those original fucking like the side graphic with the one that you had that Roger had a remake of not that long ago. And you guys tried to give me one. I think I took it home.
I think I don't remember which one.
Yeah. Either way, man, it was a very like moment that stood out to me and still stands
yeah.
out. Obviously, I'm telling the story. You know?
Yeah.
Jesse
yeah.
Martinez did a product toss with just you.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were a shoe-in to get that board.
Yeah.
I was very honored and thankful, man. And
You didn't keep those boards, did you? Or
dude, I think I skated it, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I was stoked that Roger had like a replicate. Like, so I definitely like, I have the memory of it, but
Yeah.
it's just not the actual board.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, those things that stick out that mean
Man.
so much to you. I mean, us as skateboarders, we've lived this. I mean, there's so many memories that have kind of dissipated into our brain, but those ones that stick out, it's like the
Yeah.
defining moments.
Very, very strong.
And the beginning
Yeah.
ones are the ones that I think they're exciting because you don't know what's going on. You don't know where you're
Yeah.
going. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't know you were going to be pro.
No.
Right.
You didn't
No.
know you were just going like, you have a dream. You're like, oh, can I stick it out and do it? And it's another plateau.
Totally.
Andy Howell and I talked about this a bunch before too, but it's just, we kind of learned something through skateboarding through just, you try it through tricks and you go here, you go through. You don't think you can get to a certain level. Like I know with Vert stuff and, even handrail stuff too. That was another thing with me. It's like, oh, I'll never lip slide something like that. And you do it. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. But then even on the sponsorship too, like you look at the guys that are just coming up, you're like, there's no way I could be a sponsored guy like him.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you did your work, you enter contest, now you're one of those guys.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
but I'm never going to be pro. And then you go pro. Oh, and I'm never going to win a contest. Well, I never won a
right,
pro
right.
contest. But anyway. But, yeah, so you get to these points or these little plateaus, and once you get to them, and you learn, and you look at I look at like Matt Hensley. He became the raddest pool player, and then the musician, and all these
yeah.
other things you go through, like Ray Barbie. It's like him with his music, and Tommy. It's like you have these things, and you already got that set in you. Like, why already know how to learn something?
Yeah.
Right.
And if I have this, if I get to this point, then it's going to develop into this.
Well, it's
It's
always
like the artist aspect in you.
I was
going
going to say
Yeah.
with the, I mean, you're speaking of these other people, but it's you too. I mean, you're with your art and your companies and people you work with outside of skateboarding too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that really helped because I go, well, if you persevere enough, you put enough work into it, and then other things start to pop up and kind of, happen.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So, yeah.
But it's so crazy because it all came from skateboarding. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like that's where you've really discovered your artist aspect of, wait, I can do more than this too. And
Yeah.
I'm good with my hands and I'm good with fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. You
Yeah.
know? It just
And,
opened up that door.
Yeah, and a lot of it, the angle of me being like, I like my brother too, he paints and draws. It would have gone into a different direction, versus like, I like the fact that we came from skateboarding. Our mentality is kind of this. It's this
Yeah.
angle. It's, being, inspired by Neil Blender,
Totally.
Mark, his stuff, Lance, like all these other guys that are just like, Thomas Campbell, all these other guys that skate art, Andy Jenkins, like it all kind of is what we actually think is kind of cool. It's not just this poppy bullshit.
And the music aspect that surrounded
Totally.
it too.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
Which is very influential.
Yeah, like freaking, hip hop into the 80s and 90s into New York, It's like,
But even your Operation Ivies, your Dinosaur Juniors, like all
Yeah.
those like were very obviously exposed through videos that
Yeah.
obviously reflected in, obviously I think a lot of those bands definitely skated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least I'm assuming.
yeah, because I think Neil did the Dinosaur Jr. artwork on the first album too.
Look at that.
Yeah, think about that. So, is that what you were talking about? Or
I
you just-
wasn't. That I'm just saying. I
Oh,
just
wow.
used it as a reference, and I didn't even know
Yeah.
that. So
Oh.
that's
You're
amazing.
subconscious about that out.
Crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So, but
Stuck.
I love it, bro. No, dude, I love these episodes. I love these old stories and just like times were so different back then, the 80s going into the 90s, but there's so many things that are still the same, it's like there's
Yeah.
so many things that are just, oh yeah, that happened back then, but it's happening now,
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
And then we want to relive those moments. That's why we have these retro
Yeah.
boards, and we want to see that. We want that history back.
Yeah.
Totally.
I was gonna ask a question. I know we're not almost there, but like with videos coming out now, it's like there's still some videos. Like the Primitive video came out, it was a big hype for it. Like it fully flared back in the day. Back then, when you're filming the videos, like the Powell videos, what was that like filming for? Were you like, all right, we're filming for the new video, or was it just like, we don't know what we're doing, let's just go skate and whatever happens happens?
yeah,
It's like,
that was a whole different thing. Like Tony in Jason Ellis's show. Like I was in that, we were talking about that a little bit, and Tony made me realize too how when we started shooting for public domain and we did that black and white stuff. From what Stacy was telling me, that's the first time he ever shot film, and we couldn't go and do things over and over again. We had to one off. If you better get it in 1 or 2 tries, 3, you better have that down.
Yes.
You better. And it wasn't until we did Ban This. I think there was a part where Chet Thomas and Tony are skating around L.A. And I remember Chet was trying to. Tony just reminded me of it. He was doing a double kickflip off something. We were all going off this one bump, and he was doing it a couple times. And Stacy's all used to come on, if you don't have your shit, let's move on.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was that. I don't know if that was filmed, but yeah, when we shot all the black and white stuff, that was 4 days in LA. We're finding stuff that wasn't even skated before.
You're literally skating down the
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
So that was all 4 days.
Yeah,
We're
4
talking
days.
about the
Crazy.
public domain chapter 8 or whatever they were. What was it?
Well, public domain. That was the black and white part. That's
Yes,
got that famous.
yes.
It's got that famous line. When I always think that one line just changed skateboarding, of Ray going
Ray,
down
oh
the
my
street,
God,
doing the no
definitely.
comply thing,
Definitely.
because that basically had changed skateboarding in a way where it's it wasn't kind of the California surfer thing anymore. He was so flawless, so stylish. And it was just this whole other thing.
Yeah.
You could do these tricks on flat and make it look like this. And I remember, it's kind of weird that had already been out for a while. I remember Nodis doing that handrail, or no, he did the, was it Speed Freaks or whatever, where he did the hydrant and he spun around.
yeah. Right
So
here.
I died trying that because I remember trying it, but I didn't really look at the video again. I thought he just did it. So I went up on this high rail and I'm trying to spin around. I was just fucking up my shin so badly.
Oh yeah.
So, but
not a spin.
Yeah, but then I looked at the video. I go, what is he doing that I'm not doing? He has the
There's a
freaking
fucking pole right there.
Pole right there.
Yeah.
You little cheater. But no, it was just around. I go, oh, so I just had it. I had to go do it, and by my grandma's house right down the street. Lo and behold, there's this smaller handrail, and then that's the thing. There's a street sign that was close enough to do it. So I'm all like, cool, I'm going to get my freaking Nodus on. I go, I do it, and I spin around. Still got fucked.
Still got fucked.
But I was doing it. But there was some kid, I remember some kid, these two kids came over, and I always called them like the Compton bikes, like, you know, the little lowrider bikes, but they have the reflectors like all over the whole bike. Yeah. So they're coming, they're watching me for a little bit. And I mean, I was, you know, I skated for Powell, but I was a surfer too. And I was the typical California looking, you know, nightmare, whatever. Like it looked like a California postcard. It's just bad.
See the VW bus right next to you.
Yeah, I had a VW bus.
Yes, he fit the mold.
I fit the mold. So, but they were watching me, and then one of the kids goes, hey, my brother's got a skateboard. I'm going to start skating. I go, oh, I'm influencing people in, you know, it just like, these kids aren't skaters, whatever. And he's all, no, I don't want to skate like you, though. He's all, I go, oh, thanks. He's all, no. He's like, you're just some white surfer kid. I go, you think I'm white? I go, I don't look Mexican at all. He's like, and he's like, no. It's like, I just saw this one kid, and he's more like me. He's going down the street, and I go, it's like this old footage because it's all black and white. And I go, black and white? And he's wearing jeans, and he's more like Magic, like he's stylish, and he's like, and I go, you're
Barbie.
talking about Ray Barbie. And he's like, Ray, he was like, and I go, was he black? He's like, yeah, he's black. But he's not like a white boy because he had style to him. And I was just sitting there going, I go, am I really that unstylish?
Second guessing your whole
But
career.
I was completely blown away, and I stuck. I go, wow, this is insane that like what Stacy put down and how like I would have never thought of like a kid that wasn't some surfer, action sporty kid, whatever, see this video. How did he see it? His brother had it, the skateboard. He's going to start skating. So that I just saw that and I go, wow, that is just great. That just
Definitely.
like, it's this, somebody is just inspired to this. Like, I would never think you'd be a skateboarder, you know? And then that changed everything. And then it went from like, you know, all of a sudden more people in Europe and New York had changed into this whole other thing. And I go, I always credit Ray to that. I go, man, him and Lance, but that line, just made it seem like, oh wow, skateboarding, it's a whole different thing.
There's the late 80s too, not to cut you
No,
off.
please.
The late 80s, there was like the videos were definitely being distributed in a different way. They weren't just distributed at skate shops.
It was hard to get those videos.
No. What I'm saying is they were accessible.
You could rent them.
You could rent them at video shops.
Yeah.
Oh, you could.
Yeah, so I remember renting like fucking Holiday Havoc and like those crazy like contest videos.
Savannah Slamma, right?
And
Where you
Savannah
had to-
Slamma,
wow.
and I definitely public domain, but that was like almost the tail end of it, where when public domain was coming out. So he might have caught it at the video shop.
Maybe, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's also an interesting fact that, like, yeah, you could see one of these skate videos, but when you see it in person, when you see somebody actually skating like that kid saw you skating, it's like, I saw this dude, the style guy, then I see it in person. I got to do this.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think that, I think that's a thing that I walked away from too. Like I go, yeah, he saw me skating. He's like, oh yeah, it's interesting to me. I'm gonna do it way better than you. But it's interesting.
You gotta have confidence.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
For sure.
It's amazing, bro.
But the growth and where that all kind of came from and started, it was like, man, I was lucky enough with Powell to start traveling the world, and thank you to Stacy and George and all those guys to like, they really, I mean, put me out there to go see stuff that I would never have seen. I saw the growth of it like in Europe too.
Totally.
You know, because like how videos, like when did you start skating?
I started skating in like 87.
87.
Like really skating in 87.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember the summer '87. That's like again, like they were like the Alva tour came through, Powell came through for that Val Surf.
Yeah,
and they always had the raddest like demos.
Yeah,
I remember around that time. So that's when I really got captivated by seeing pros and being like, "Whoa, this is cool."
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So
I think we're on this track now, turning pro. and your graphic and stuff like that for Powell Peralta. How did that come about? Winning the contests, or what was the catalyst for getting you that board?
So Mike Valley had turned pro, and he was like, I guess the second guy on Powell to really get like a street board, legitimate pro guy. So he was pro at that first Savannah Slamma contest, I think. And then Ray and I were kind of coming up, and we were both doing, well in contests. So Stacy's all, hey, want you guys to start thinking about boards. So we got our graphics ideas together.
Okay.
And it's so funny because Sean Cliver has that one book out of all of his graphics. I think he has a couple books of it.
Sure.
But it's so funny in that story. He's like, he just started working for Powell. He some ad that they put out, and I thought it was a joke, but it's like, hey, win a contest and be the new artist for Powell. So he did. So we became friends, started hanging out, and I was going up there to skate with him all the time. And so the first graphics that he went to work on were Ray and my graphic. Thing is, I wanted to draw my own graphic, but commercially I wasn't ready there to do anything like that.
Okay.
So they were kind of like patting me on the back. Yeah, sure. Give us your idea.
Sure, kid.
And it's in his book. It actually has one of the sketches I did, and I did this blob creature thing, and it looks like. I love Santa Cruz graphics. I hope this doesn't come off wrong, but it looked like a bad Santa Cruz graphic, like this creature coming out, pulling out my name, but it was just Steve. It wasn't even Saiz. It was just a terrible graphic.
Who's the
my
Steve
idea.
guy?
Yeah, it's just Steve guy. It's just really. I want to cover all Steves, not just the Saiz.
Yeah. Anybody out there named Steve's going to buy this board.
Steve, yeah.
Perfect.
Element made a lot of money doing that.
Yeah. So, whoa, what the hell was that?
That's Raj.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, so. I wanted to do it. They were like, okay, here. He even actually credit to freaking Sean. He actually drew the blobby creature thing, and it was just, it's my idea drawn well, and I'm looking, going like, what a piece of shit. That's a terrible idea. But he did it, and it looked rad though. But the concept was terrible.
Okay.
So that's when I went back to go like, well, I want it to mean something. And Ray's was already like a no brainer because Ray had already thought about it. It's like, well, I want like this doll, like the Barbie off of that thing. So it just seemed like, oh, that's perfect. That's so.
And
so
wait a
great.
minute, this is when like Powell's graphics were changing, right? Because I remember Mike V sitting here and telling us that like he was adamant he wanted that old Powell. He had the elephant and he wanted that old Powell vibe.
Yeah.
He didn't want the new graphic vibe.
Yeah.
Which is bold for whatever a 16-year-old kid or however old he was to push back like that on Powell.
Yeah. And
Which
so
is crazy.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't want that.
I love that. I thought that was so amazing. That he was like, no, very opinionated on what he wanted, and they respected it.
He made the right move.
Yeah, he made the right move.
Definitely.
So in with, I think Court did his graphic. That's probably one of the last graphics he did.
Yeah, probably.
And then Sean was doing our graphics. So I wanted to reach back. I just go, well, man, I don't know what. And I just started thinking about my family and the name and being part Comanche. And I go, oh, you know what? And I started drawing out this headdress thing with a skull and my name. And I go, oh, I kind of want to go more towards going back to my native side of things, And I hit him up with that. And then Sean started messing around with it. And he got the Comanche shield part right. So Comanche is like, Texas kind of southern, plains tribe. And the one thing that I was trying to not get on there was the fact they put a totem pole in the back round of it, because it looks awesome. And I still like the graphic sense of my board. There's kind of a line in the middle. There's a circle. When you look at it, it's got a specific look to it.
Okay.
And the totem pole, I go, man, this looks awesome. And he even put my brother's name. His nickname was Ramo. It's in the teeth at the bottom of it. I go, sick. And his name's in there too. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But I go, Stacy, I got to drop can't have the totem pole because that doesn't make sense. But he's like, you know what? It's going to be kind of like an all over nations kind of thing. So he thought it was cool to go like, all right. So, and I was always worried about, am I getting any flack for that? But no, everybody just seemed they were on it. And I go, okay, more of a all nation sort of thing. I go, no, that's cool. I can get behind it.
Why would the totem pole be
The totem pole would be more like more northern native, more like you'd see it in Alaska, Canada, like totem poles.
Okay.
That's more that culture. Then Comanche would be the plains, which the horse nation. They're the
Okay.
masters of the plains.
I get you.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
So
so-
you're worried about flack of it not being correct.
Yeah,
In
correct.
terms
yeah.
of
Yeah,
where.
but no one.
geo-
Yeah, and at that time, no one was really paying attention to if it was a native thing. They really wouldn't care. I was just worried about like, well, some of my uncles. He was a chief, and I was just going Rocky. He's no longer with us. Rest in peace. But I just like, wow, would he see this and go like, this is lame, and it doesn't
Yeah, this is
weird
wrong.
anything. I go, it's wrong.
Right.
But no,
not offensive, but
no,
just
yeah.
wrong.
And even now, I still worried about that. I go because even with some of my art and what I want to do, it's like I love to do art, and I want to hopefully work with Tony's foundation too. But with like on native reservations, like go, hey, look, let's promote skate parks in these places, because if we put a slab of concrete somewhere flat, you put up a bank, you put up a bench, there's going to be a pro coming out of there. Somebody's going to skate. It doesn't take much, but then you build these great parks, and what they're doing is just amazing. But I'm like, God, if we could do that more, maybe more some art show stuff on reservations, I would love to do that.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So, and they're already doing it. Like a Walt up at Denver with Stronghold Society, and they're actually building parks on reservations, and that's my kind of dream. I would love to see what happened in Brazil. I guess I used to hear stories from Radigi and Christian. They would go to these places in Brazil, and these it's super wealthy or it's super impoverished, like low, just income.
Favelas and
Yeah.
stuff.
But these rich people would build these skate parks or these bowls, or they leave these parks together. So they built all these concrete things that were left behind. That's how I understand it. And through the 90s, you had like Lincoln Ueda and Burnquist and all these superheroes. How strong is Brazil on a world scale of skateboarders?
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
They're one of the best,
Definitely.
And that was my dream. I go, man, well, now these parks are starting to pop up on native reservations. I would love for that to be the new, let's see, we're at 5 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
like the Apache guys and all those guys. Like, I want to see that kind of happen. And okay, new superheroes, Native American guys, like
Yeah.
over here.
Yes.
That's kind of my dream.
I love it.
So,
And you're right. It doesn't take much to make a skateboarder happy. You don't have to build a $7 million park. It's literally a couple benches, a quarter pipe,
Yeah,
and some
not
rails.
much at all,
It's,
bro.
it's really simple.
Yeah. You just got a ledge, you got a little bank,
Yep.
you got to get whatever you can. There's tons of stuff to learn, tons of stuff to do. So I love that. So so I'm glad what Sean did, and it was amazing. But it's funny, in his book, he was like, "Oh man, I worked on Ray's graphic, and it was the easiest thing. It came together. It was a piece of pie."
Oh, no.
And I flipped the page to my thing. Then there's Steve Saiz. He's like, it was kind of hard because we were trying to figure out what to do, and I'm glad that he put up with it, and
Sure,
Stacy
sure.
did, and George did, and we came up to what came out
Listen,
of it. So.
that's awesome that you have so much say back then about your graphics. I mean, people
Yeah.
still do these days, but maybe not as much, right? It's like people turn pro, they get surprised. They don't even know. They just have a board with a
Yeah.
graphic on it. There's no input, you
Yeah.
know?
And that first one, yes, but then beyond that,
100% first
Yeah.
one.
That's up to you,
Right,
you know?
Yeah.
right. But he's talking about your first, that was your first board.
And back then, Powell and everybody's graphics, you had them around for a lot longer.
Well,
I had that board for years.
I was going to
Yeah. Oh,
ask,
wow.
how many boards
Yeah.
did you actually have on Powell?
2.
That's
Really?
See, that's what I'm saying.
For how many
Yeah.
years?
75 years.
75 years.
You
They must have been selling
something ago.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A long time.
Listen, those guys back then, I mean, they were making 20 grand a month off of boards.
I'm one of those guys.
There
See?
you go.
Supposedly to this day, I've heard some rep, like when my board came out, I had the highest month that they ever had.
What?
Yeah, supposedly when it came
okay.
out. And like when you're at home and you're getting that first check, and I was home alone, I'm like, oh, and I'm looking at this thing, I'm like,
Is that right? Is that good?
Sitting in his box was eating Cheerios.
you know what it's like to look at a check and you're questioning, okay, now these two things are cents and that's a dot, so that's change. Okay, we got that, we know that.
Change.
1, 2, 3, that's 100, then you have a comma, and then you get into the thousands. I go like, so that No, I must be wrong. Oh,
You're
man,
almost
I'm
like, should
bad
I
at math.
call him?
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
call
go,
him real quick.
This is
Nah,
in the bank.
I'm going to the bank.
Yeah, let me go
No.
deposit it, then call.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
not even call him if they ask
probably
for
not
it
gonna
back.
call him.
I don't know.
I'm going to look it up in a dictionary because you don't have the internet back then. So I'm going to look it up. What is proper? And I remember looking at, and then my folks came home, and it was the raddest thing. I showed, my mom was like, oh, what? And I showed my dad. My dad is very man of few words, like whatever. And I showed him, and he was like, because he's like, oh, what are you going to do with the skateboard?
Right.
And I go, Dad, here's my first check for a month. And he's like, oh, whatever.
Still.
Not impressed.
Go, not impressed. I go, holy, whatever. And then the car gets backed up, and we have this like longer driveway. And then my dad's there with my little sister, and he's got my board, and he's rolling down the driveway.
No.
He's
That
like,
must
I'm
have meant a
jumping on
lot.
this thing.
That must have meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's rad.
You a little
That's
choked up
super
thinking about it.
sick.
That's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Oh, damn.
No, but yeah, I was going like, all right, that's it a lot. He's like,
That's amazing.
And then he just told me, he's like, hey, look, if you're making that much money doing this, I'm switching careers.
I'm in the wrong.
Yeah.
And he was a Learjet pilot too.
Really?
Yeah. He was a Learjet pilot, like, and also licensed mechanic. He was
No
gnarly.
way.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. We're so on the like.
Wow. Mechanical engineer? Or-
No. Well, he basically he flew Learjets, and he could also work on the literally like a mechanic. Like,
Got you.
He's a licensed. Like, he could actually work on these
that.
jets as well. So
Okay.
wow.
yeah. So
there he is,
Amazing.
skateboarding out front on your board.
yeah. He's rolling.
How old were you when you got your first check?
I don't know. Was I 8? I was in 1920. I was kind of older. I was a couple years older. So I was was I 19 maybe? 1920. But it was so rad back then.
Not 1920, actual 19 or 20.
The year was 1920. Carriages were a big thing.
Went from the 70s to the 20s.
I was the
We're
first
all
guy
over
to
the
saddle
place.
back and
Yeah.
ollie off a horse.
You're the first side saddle ever.
First side saddle. Yeah. Oh, God, that made me lose my train of thought.
No, we were
Oh.
selling all those boards.
So PAL graphics lasted so long.
Yes,
The
they
graphics
did.
lasted a long time. So that was really cool. It's like, well, you had something you really wanted to try to brand yourself as that or whatever you are, which was really cool. And having that happen like to us, it was like Stacy was so smart about the team that he knew we were going to be making so much money at the
Right.
time. So he and George met with my parents, and same with Ray. They met with him. They go, hey, look, you got to look out for him. He's going to make a lot of money, and he better try to organize it. And so, and it was rad. Like with Tony, like, we all kind of took advice from him. Like, oh, you got to watch your taxes for this. Like, he had an agent. He was pretty smart about it. So we kind of we learned a lot from him.
Definitely.
Like, here's how you should manage being a professional skateboarder.
Because, I mean, for the audience out there, it's like they're giving you're an independent contractor, right? So they're giving you money without taxes taken out.
Yeah.
So the government, obviously, they want their cut.
Yeah. And they took their
quarterly.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Advised quarterly.
Good advice. Quarterly, for sure.
Some true
But it's a lot of
confessions.
money, You spend 20 grand. I mean, you make 20 grand. You're like, this is little do you know later on
Yeah.
that you're going to have to cut that in half,
Yeah.
whatever.
Close to it.
A good friend of mine, Per Willender, and when my board was coming out, he's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you should do the native graphic thing. He's like, Monty Nolder has like an Indian shield thing. It's like, I don't think he really does well. I'm like, well, respects to Monty, but I go, he's a vert guy. I'm more of a street guy. And I go, our graphics look totally different. He's like, I don't think it's going to be grouped as this native thing. And I don't even know if Monty actually had if he's native at all or what his background is, but
Who do you skate for?
Hosoi, I think at the time.
Oh, Hosoi. Okay.
I think so. I think it was a Hosoi
Yeah,
board.
got you.
So it was, and I didn't even realize that it was this kind of it was a shield or had a coin on it or something. And I go, I didn't even realize that it was this kind of native angle thing.
Wait a minute.
I think he had an arrowhead.
It was an
Yeah,
arrowhead. It was an
yeah.
arrowhead, like a coin thing on it, and I didn't really know what it was. I thought it was a good graphic, but I didn't know what it was. And Per was just like, I don't know, you better think about, he was very business oriented. Like, I go, you want to be able to, and he taught me a lot. We're on the road. Like, hey, look, when you go to shops, make sure go in there, say hey to everybody, don't be a douche.
Yeah.
And
They're the ones ordering that board.
Yeah, he goes, like, those are the guys that are going to order boards. He goes, don't go in there be kiss ass, but I go, and he goes, find out what sells, what's there. So when you turn pro, it's going to happen. And I remember him telling me that. I go, you think I'll be pro one day? That's awesome. He's like, no, you will, but just do this. And he's like, be smart about this. And then when my board came out, he's like, well, you'll probably maybe make $6-7 the first check, but that's going to go away, and it's going to go down to this and this, that. And he was a good friend of mine, so I told him. He's like, "What?"
Well, you made the right choice. Yeah. We might not even know the answer to this, but back then, when you turned pro and you were making a $20,000 check for a month, how many people were pro on Powell, and what other companies were there? There was Hosoi, Santa Cruz, like there, Vision. I mean, there weren't that many, right? There was like a handful.
The Big Five.
The Big Five.
Yeah, probably.
Was Schmidt-Stick gone by then?
Was Schmidt-Stick around then? Schmidt-Stick was there.
Yeah.
Schmidt-Stick was there. GNS was there.
GNS.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and GNS, I always thought, like, Stacy was such a part of, like, keeping this team and marketing and doing all these things together. I always thought GNS, if they would have had... And I don't know who their team managers were, but they had so much talent on that team. It was like Chris Miller, Neil Blender. I think one time it was Jeff Phillips. I think Gator was on there. And let me see who else.
Wasn't it Chris Carter?
Juden?
Chris
Carter was...
Didn't he start it, or didn't he own
No,
it?
it was like TM back then, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, was Chris Carter?
Because then they would have to go do Alien.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he was working at Tracker before he went to before Alien. I know he was my team manager for a while.
For a tracker?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So how many people were on Powell with boards?
God.
Rough. I don't know.
Well, like the Animal Chin guys, Rodney, Kevin Harris, Peralta. I think no, I don't think he had a street board yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
A small handful.
Yeah, like 10, possibly, at most.
Yeah.
At most, maybe. Yeah.
So we're looking at the time skateboarding's blown up, like you said, like these guys are, everybody's rock stars. So yeah, you're selling a lot of boards.
Yeah. And and Stacy is with his marketing stuff. He was like
The good old days.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He actually I remember doing these ads, and some of the ads I just hated, but I was stoked to get them. But he was like, "Oh, here's your face shot. Here's this, is that." And they're like, "Oh no, I just did this handrail thing, or I just did this one thing." And I go, "Can we shoot that or whatever?" And he's like, "No, it's we need people to know who you are. We're branding you as this." He's like, "This is what we need to be doing to push you.
Smart.
You need to be getting editorial and everything on your own.
Right.
We need you to go." And I'm going like, "Wait, I have a job." Literally, I got to be doing something. Yeah, it's your job to do well in contests and also try to get some of the coverage, so you back up all the stuff that we're promoting with. And it's like, I'm still living off of things that happened way back when, that people know me from all over the world. Like my art stuff, they're going like, "Oh yeah, you're the same Steve Saiz that, hooked up with my sister in Norway."
Sure.
But, probably should have said that. But yeah, so it was God, why did I just threw my brain into a different realm?
No, I love it. I love it. I mean, skateboarding's changed so much. When nowadays it's like these companies. I mean, we can make a board company right now, sitting here.
I got some I
You got paper?
I got some paper.
You're an
You,
artist.
you can
I got
definitely make some graphics for us.
I'll do the first graphic.
Yeah.
I'm great artist.
Oh, cool.
I drew Andy Hell a photo.
Oh, you did?
I drew him a
Oh
picture.
yeah, it was really, really good. It was.
I saw that episode. Andy's a homeboy of mine, so I was like,
Yeah.
I do. I
drew just a skater who's doing a wheelie.
Why doesn't Steve
a
think about
wheelie.
the idea? and
I
then
know what
Chris-
manual means. You could tell me that too.
You just
A wheelie.
you think of the idea and then Chris draws it, and then
Yeah.
we go from there.
Yeah, that would be
Dude,
perfect.
this is gonna be the best company ever.
What are you gonna call
Ever.
it? Stephen Krob.
Steve. We'll just call it Steve.
Yeah,
Anybody with the name Steve is gonna buy our shit.
I
yes.
got some graphics for it.
There we go.
They've been
There
in
we
a
go.
folder.
Steve skateboards.
So I love the
that.
fact that you had 2 skateboards, 2 pro boards during your whole
Yeah.
career as a pro, right? Now, it must have been going good. Now, what happened towards the latter end of that? Because you started getting hurt, right? You hurt your knee.
Yeah.
And then Powell ultimately was like, we can't. Like,
Yeah.
Did they ultimately kick you off?
They just put it to me like this. They were like, we're not going to make your board again. Because, we're going to go this other way. But I didn't. They're like, they were saying like, not that you can't skate for us, but we're not going to have the board out anymore. And I at that point I was going like, yeah, no, I totally get it. I just can't keep up anyway. My knee
because of your knees?
Yes, my knee.
Right.
I mean, the first 87 when I graduated, 2 weeks before I went on tour, that's the first time I ripped my ACL.
The first time in '87.
Yeah, I remember I was down at Long Beach and there was some parking lot and they set up this launch ramp and they put up a bunch of bikes. So I kept doing 360s or further. They kept putting bikes in the thing. So I'm just, and when you do the Evel Knievel jump thing, like you go, oh, I can go that far, I can further. Then one kid puts that other bike and then when you start looking, I'm like, I'm not sure if I can go that far. So I'm going way back and do this 360 over it. And then my back foot slips off and it just goes, and I ripped it.
Did the splits kind of?
Yeah, the splits. My knee hit, and that was the beginning of the rip. So I went to go see a specialist. Didn't stay off it. Didn't tell them about it. And then when I went on tour, that was when I started skating. And luckily, okay, I did enough rehab on it. But then there was times like I don't know. I think maybe a year or so later where I ripped it, and then I would be off my board for like 6 months. And then I would try to rehab it.
Surgeries or anything?
I wasn't getting surgeries.
No, you were just letting it heal.
I was just letting it heal. I was trying to do like icing and bike riding to strengthen all the muscles around it. And I remember because back then I remember like skating with Joe Johnson and Tony at his house, and Tony had, I think it was the Hawaii contest. We were just talking about this. He had some cartilage that was locking up his knee, so he had some surgery done, so he was out for like 6 weeks, so that was kind of gnarly, but I knew mine was more serious. So it just kind of went back and forth. And yeah, towards the end there, I remember I was skating skate zone like all the time, like okay cool, getting a little bit more my tech stuff in, and I was at YMCA. That was the last time. I thought I was skating good, had a good line down, and they had the fun box, a big fun box, and had a long handrail at the end. So that morning I had my whole line down, like cool, got some flip stuff, got some grab stuff. I got to show up in the morning and just make that ollie lip slide down that rail, the first one.
You talking like ollie up and over to lip slide?
Oh yeah, ollie over the pyramid.
At
and
the
then
skate zone.
Yeah, this is the skate zone. This is an Encinitas.
I'm picturing the
Encinitas,
skate zone.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
no,
too.
the
Yeah.
PVC pipe
Yeah,
handrails.
because I was doing it there. I was ollieing and
Okay.
doing lip slides on that, and that was
Gotcha.
shorter. But this one was like a longer rail. So the distance of that thing was probably the same from what I remember. Go over, boom, lip slide, and I'm kind of back seating it a little bit, and I try to turn out of it, and then my knee just goes whoosh. And that was the rip that really, I ripped it, and I was in so much pain, and you get hurt, you go into shock, you're like, okay, cool. This one, the pain was just in my head and in my knee for 20 minutes. Like I couldn't be moved. I was just sitting there going, I was like, F you guys. And I moved over to the end. I just could not be moved. It hurt so much. And that was the rip. I just, I was out for 8 months, and I came back after that, and I just, the first day I came back for skating that time, I think it was out 6-8 months, and I wasn't on tour or anything, so I could get away with it. And I went skating somewhere with like our buddies Mark Nisbet, who did these 508 videos. We go shooting there,
yeah.
and there was these benches, this ledge thing. So they're skating all these ledges, and there was like this stair thing with a railing kind of ledge thing. So I'm alling over that really high and coming off. So I'm really pitching it, and then boom, rip my knee out again, and I'm just going fuck.
This is after 8 months.
Yeah, this is after 8 months. And I go, now I'm back into it. And it just, and at that point, I keep getting hurt so much that it, even more so than the pain, my brain just cannot take it, because I know, okay, now I'm going to be on the couch for so long. I can't do this, and I'm going to be biking, and I can't skate. I can't do anything else. So I know my rehab, that's what I just couldn't face anymore.
Yeah,
So,
I could hear.
you know,
I could see
and then
that.
so it's just like, okay, I'm out of it. I can't keep up. Like, I just remember like skating with Chet after the first couple times, and like Chet was getting so much better and so much technical, and I go, man, I just can't keep up at a certain point.
And how old were you at this point when you started blowing out your knees? Like towards the end, when Powell was like, "We're not gonna make your board."
Yeah,
anymore.
I was 19 the first time I got hurt.
Okay.
And then I think, I don't know, is it 91 or 90? I think maybe 91.
Dan, so you were young when you realized all this stuff.
Yeah.
That you were
Yeah,
like,
but
I'm
you have to
done.
understand though, like back then,
You didn't.
the
knee surgeries like that would be a year recovery. You didn't do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
but also the fact that nobody saw a big career out of like a 25-year-old still skateboarding
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like
Very
when you're
short-lived.
20, 21, it's like okay, I'm
Got a few
reaching
years.
my
Yeah.
my peak.
Yeah.
I'm an old man now in skating.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I heard stories about Stevie going like, oh my God, this guy Tony's coming up and I can't keep up anymore. And Stacy's all, no, keep doing you. He had that call with me, or the talk with me. He's like, oh, they're like, guy, these guys are coming up. It's like, no, you got to keep doing. And I kept the park. I was like, okay, good. I'm feeling like I'm catching up. Tony would say, she was like, well, is this the end? Like, Lance has all his stories of like, hey, I thought I was done before I even got started.
Sure.
He didn't know. And I look where everybody's at.
I know. I love it.
But so
Crazy.
we're in the part of like, we don't know how long it's going to go. I mean, it's starting to slow down for everybody.
And I think we're at the point too. It's like 91. We talked about it before the show started. It's like blind video days.
yeah, best
Came
video
out,
ever. Yeah.
and that changed everything.
Yeah, big
from
time.
that video.
And from my career where I was, that's another plateau video. Like I was really stoked because I think Public Domain was the beginning of Street. I feel that was a plateau video. Boom, you go to this one, you go here, and then like I think all the 8th Street ones that came out.
Yeah, we're shortly after.
Yeah, where that's the next level, of it. And then when it was all kind of coming together really nicely, Video Days comes out, and it's just like, it has everything.
everything. Yeah.
It's like style, the best tricks, the way the video's put together. It's just that's still my favorite video.
Yeah. My first video I ever saw.
Yeah,
So that was huge.
yeah. And like I was saying, I thought you said before I thought yours was Goldfish. Was the first one.
No, but Goldfish. I mean, we were. It's like what came out first, virtual reality or questionable?
Virtual reality.
I always get confused
Oh,
on
no.
those.
Questionable.
Okay, questionable.
Yeah.
It's like Video Days, questionable, virtual reality. Like those are in the span of like 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
Like those came out quick, back to
Yeah.
back to back.
Actually, 2 years.
2 years.
I
Give or
think
take.
that's one.
Yeah.
It would almost seems like one trade show after the other almost.
Think about that though.
Yeah.
Think about how
Amazing.
fast that progression was.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
For sure.
Yeah. Like all
I mean, you go from Video Days and then you got Pat Duffy.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
What?
Because
That-
Goldfish came out in 93, so a lot of stuff happened
Yeah.
before Goldfish.
Oh yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All those videos came out in 91, right? 91.
So it was like
Oh,
91,
Video Days?
92,
Yeah.
and then Goldfish. You guys,
Yeah.
after Plan B video came out, you guys, everybody left
Yeah.
shortly
Yeah.
to start Girl.
Yeah. So yeah, 92, I think virtual reality, 92, end of 91, beginning of 92 would be
So
questionable.
trip.
Somebody's going to call us out in the
Yeah,
comments.
they
for-
could,
Oh, yeah,
they could
yeah.
do that. They could do that for sure. It's
Yeah.
only going to be within a year span of
I know,
like being
I know.
off
No, for real.
There's so much stuff that happened. Like
in a short
I
time span.
So is it questionable? Was the first one with Duffy, right?
Questionable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember and by this time my skating thing was already done, but I remember skating with everybody and hearing about Duffy, how like what he'd done, the railings he did. We went to the school where he did that double kink rail.
He's a
And
Terminator.
and we went to the Terminator, and we went to the premiere, and that still is like one. I mean, Powell has had some rad premieres too. I'll put that up there just as equal. But the hype around Duffy, and when you saw that first part, and he delivered, and then some, and that was like. At that point, you weren't doing long single bar. Like I could see doing long handrails where you have a block. I always like the edged up rails, But the round ones were like, I was like, no, you can't stay on that forever. It's a bounce.
and he's doing
Oh, yeah, yeah.
double
Yeah.
kink.
Double kink thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see Danny doing it, and that's still like, I was like, even then, I still wanted to try it, even just a board slide it. But you saw, boom, he whipped out one time really
bro.
bad on it,
Yeah.
But
Little bail section.
yeah, and I went there, but that part that he did was like, I go, man, that is one of the best opening parts probably ever.
And
Definitely.
he did I always tripped. He did like the big flip back tail down like the little ass hubba.
He did.
Dude, but like I never even thought
was
of that.
this big.
It was that big, but he big flip back
He
tailed
did.
it. And that was a trick back
Fake it.
then. Yeah, yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
is that the one by the girl? Was that hubba?
I don't know
The
where
little
that
one?
thing is at. I almost think that thing is,
I think San
is in
Diego.
San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you know
Sandy.
which one I'm talking about,
I do.
though. The
I do.
little.
And he like tray
Yeah.
flip tail
Oh.
slides that fucking hubba.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just he was doing the big shit and just the crazy
Yeah,
tech shit.
for
you
sure.
know?
When Powell said you wanted to get your stop producing your board, what was going through your mind at that point? Were you already thinking about what your next
Yeah, I was already
chapter was?
Yeah, I was
or
already kind
what?
of thinking the next step because it's all to see the writing on the wall. I think Stacy he already left. He was leaving. So, and everybody was already. I knew Lance was going to start his own thing. There was debate on them doing. Powell was going to maybe try to keep them in house, but then that didn't work. And then Pear, I know, was going to do the thing with Tony, and then where it was going to go. At what level, and at that point I was kind of thinking, no, I guess go back to school, which I did.
Okay.
And that was I was already starting to put that in my head, go like, not surprised at all. So.
You didn't want to try to stay in the skateboarding industry at that point?
Oh, I did. I still did, but
Yeah.
I didn't know
Where you
how I could go. Like,
Right.
Then it didn't even dawn on me to go like, hey, George, Stacy, can I work at something at Powell? It just seems like, I already did that company thing.
Yeah.
And I had friends over at World and stuff. Like back then, there was a time like towards the end, I was going like, oh man, I wonder if things are changing so much. I like what they were doing. Can I go over there and do something with those guys?
Because you're an artist.
Yeah.
So-
But I wasn't like a commercial artist guy kind of yet. But still, I would have gone like, hey, all right, give me a job doing art. I wouldn't have taken it.
For sure.
And it wasn't until then, and just going back to school, and then Ray Underhill called me up, and he was working at Gullwing, and Randy Jansen had just quit because of he started a tattoo shop. So Ray Underhill went in there to kind of revive what was happening with Gullwing. So, and he called me up, and he's like, hey, do you want to come in, and we need a sales guy to do this? Because I think you could do it. Enough people know you. So I go, I've never done sales before, but we'll try. And he's like, no, we're open to going direct because they only dealt with distributors back in the day, and now they're going to go direct. And I go, yeah, I want to do that, and I also want to try to do some graphics and stuff too. He's like, well, we might do, because Ray Underhill, rest in peace, homie, and super talented. And he was, I didn't even realize, I knew he did graphic stuff before he skated, but I didn't understand how good he was. And he was the beginning of the, using computers and stuff, learned tons from him, and he did great stuff. I was like, oh, but I also wanted to learn some graphic stuff too. And we started some other companies like NDT Skateboards, and, I did some other stuff. So I was able to start dabbling t-shirt graphics, stickers, and all like screening stuff, and that kind of started me there for a while.
So that was kind of the precursor to what you're doing what you got into.
Yeah,
because you started your own like agency, or what's the proper name? Is it an agency or is it a?
No, just working solo, hustling.
Did you have your own like studio that you would like?
No, I mean, my studio was always my house, I would sometimes work for companies. Like I worked for Going for 3-4 years. Then I went to, Miguel asked me to work with him he was doing Chapter 7 in Shaft. And I was like, he had like Chris Markovich and Munford and all these guys were in and out of his place that would go and they would move on to something else. I go, man, if you harness this, if we did it, kept him, we could build something. And I was there for a year. It just worked terribly, but we actually, like Rob Gonzales, Malcolm Watson, Rich Caldwell, Amakarabi, we all started, doing this, let's do our own thing. And I was kind of just using, and I know it was a negative. I know that people were going to go like, Miguel's not the coolest, and all what they were doing weren't, but they had some talented people in there. A lot of guys left because they'd already been there or burned out. But I brought on some of my guys, and let's be our own clique. Let's just be our own people. And then, because all these guys are super cool and they're talented. And if we just do our own thing, if people are going to want to hang out or do something with us or
gravitate towards
us if we're our own thing. So we did. And I go, hey, look, I know we'll work on the graphics. We rock our own stuff. And sure enough, we started selling boards, started doing something with it. But it didn't work out with him for certain reasons. And I won't get into all that. But,
just whisper it into the mic.
Yeah. It goes down to like the viewers that actually hear it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
nobody will hear it.
Nobody here.
No.
Well, I know no one's going to watch this one. After like 23 minutes, they're gone. I've done some research.
Well, we precursed the episode like it was only going to be 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So people are gone.
But go
ahead.
I left there, and that's when I really started doing like my own freelance design for all sorts of different people. And then I ended up working at like at 4-Star, not skateboarding, snowboarding.
Oh yeah,
that was one of my first kind of like real gigs as an art director. And I wasn't really an art director, but I started doing all the branding stuff. Like I don't know if you remember. One of my big things back then was like special blend that snowboarding. Like
Was
I
it
did
Foursquare?
Foursquare. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Foursquare is part of 4-Star.
Oh, okay.
Foursquare was like it was I
The
think
distribution of
no. Foursquare was one of the they did bags and they did outerwear.
Okay.
That was Foursquare is part of it. They did the kind of the 4 dots like the black flag logo.
Yeah.
And then there was Forum, which my buddy Greg DeLeo, that was his company. And Peter Line, I think, was the Foursquare. And then they had Special Blend, which was their kind of their outer gear stuff. So, and I did their like SB icon logo thing. I was always stoked on that.
Oh, sick.
Worked with them for like just a season, subcontracted. Then after that got a hit up to go work for Spy Optics. So I was working for them, and it was cool because they did action sports, and I know Danny was on there, so it was cool doing some of his
Crossover,
ads. Yeah. So and then Sean Palmer, the biking. So that was cool, and that was like one of my first. Okay, this is you're just doing this thing with the creative director and so the guy Beaver who owned it. He came from like what was it from? Not Black Flies. He came from No Fear. So it was a sub.
Wow.
It was a sub of No Fear. So I was there for a year or so, and then one of my buddies, Andy Howell. We kind of started all messing around. I introduced him to Greg DeLeo, and they lived in the same area. So we were kind of, let's start this agency thing. And I was like, well, I'm working as this. I can't just quit. I got a mortgage.
Gotcha.
So Andy Howell and Greg DeLeo went forward, and they started ImageWorks, this one action sports agency thing.
Right.
So I did that, and they started it, and it was doing well. So I came over and worked with them for like a year or so. And not even a year, a couple months. And then it just, towards the end, it just was way too much work. It was way too crazy. I go, I'm out. This is, I'm going to go back to my freelance thing because I did all this K2 thing and this campaign, and it was rad, but it was way too big. Yeah. I did everything. I'm out. Then luckily enough, my friend Owen Nieder, he's best buddies with Ken Block. And Ken had came into when I was working at Spy. He'd seen the stuff I did. He liked it. He's like, "Hey, I heard you're just doing freelance. You want to come in?" So then I started working for DC.
Wow.
So I was there 2000 to 2006. So I was like,
okay.
Oh, those are good
director.
Years right there.
Yeah.
What?
It was right after everybody left. So it was kind of like the only guys there were like, besides only guys, like Danny Way and Colin. They're still there. Those guys could skate everything, but like.
But that's when the DC video came out. DC came out in like 2003, I think.
That's the one that the Hunt did.
Yeah,
that's the big one. Yeah.
That was a good time period there.
And they were still private.
Oh, you're talking about like Carol and all those dudes left.
Yeah, that's when
Kai.
they left prior to the video coming out.
Yeah, that's right.
I left. Oh no, I came on like right after they left.
Okay.
So and then like it was Anthony Van Angles and Stevie Williams was just getting his shoe, so it was kind of rad. So I worked on all those campaigns.
Sick.
Like their initial stuff. So it was like awesome, super proud of it. It was rad. There 6 years, and then went back to.
Oh, you did 6 years with DC.
Yes, 6 years with DC. Yeah.
Amazing.
Like working with artist projects, like working with my old buddy Shepard, like Kenzie. I would do their like
Shepard Ferry.
Yeah, Shepard Ferry. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Actually, I didn't do much of his stuff because he did everything practically. So he's like, "Here's a finished shoe box, everything."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then I would work. I was doing the artist project stuff. Like I'd work with Phil Frost, who he's just
So sick,
so gnarly. For me, I was intimidated at first because he's just a hardcore painter. That's all he does. That's all he does. So he wasn't into the graphic stuff. But I worked with him, and it was, I learned a lot from working with him, and we became buddies, and so it was rad.
There's so many people that went through DC, bro. That are fucking really, really talented and established right now. Like
Buscemi.
Yeah, Buscemi was there.
Definitely one of them, no doubt.
Yeah. So there was so there's so many guys, but. I was living in Solana Beach, and at a certain point, I missed LA, and I needed to come back up north. So, and I just did freelance for a couple of years, and then moved back up to Silver Lake, and then it was cool because Chris and I, Pastors, he's my best friend, my best buddy. He was living in Echo, and he just really reintroduced me to LA and everybody else. Like, hanging out with him and Clint Peterson and. Like Shimizu and Strubing and all those dudes are just such straight up like the raddest skate little community, and it was just rad. So I just love being back up in LA.
LA is great.
Yeah.
Except for traffic and
the
people.
A couple things.
Yeah,
but almost everything.
Yeah. Yeah. But the east side of it, that's what I like. That's where I'm from.
How did you get involved too? Because like I'm taking it we're almost there, but like you got involved with like some other graphic stuff with like Bar Rescue and
Oh yeah.
different TV shows, Food Network,
Fucking love that
AMC
show.
shit,
Yeah.
right?
Love Bar
I love
Yeah.
Bar. Shut it down.
Yeah.
bro.
John Taffer. Shout out
Yeah.
John
No
Taffer.
joke, bro.
But yeah, my buddy, one of my friends, Josh Hassan. He's down south. Used to skate, but he's a great artist, designer, director. He has Look Mister. If you gotta look him up, he's a part of the whole was it AR game. Like he's so tech and everything he does.
wow.
Done stuff for Gucci. Did stuff for the NFL.
okay.
Like crazy stuff. So I'd work with him every now and then. He got me crossed over into doing just graphics or drawing or whatever into here's 4D cinema, animating things and all that. So I started getting into that, and then years ago, one of my buddies, he works with he's one of the corp guys, the CEOs at the Three Ball Entertainment. They basically do like The Biggest Loser, RSU, all these shows. They do all reality shows. He's like, yeah, we need somebody to do some of these 3D graphics. This agency is killing us. Can you do it? And I'm like looking at it going like, oh, that's pretty tech. I don't think I could do it. But what came out of my mouth was like, oh, yeah, I can do it. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, I'm so good at it right now. It's
Fake it
awesome.
till we make it.
Good at it right
Fake
now.
it till we make it. Yeah. Fake it till we make it. So, yeah, and so I went back and I just go, all right, tutorialed my ass off. But I could already do enough of it. And then my buddy Josh was good enough to like, we were going to try to do like an agency thing, like try to do it. I go, oh, that's what I kind of said. I go, if we do it together, you guide me and I'll do whatever.
Okay.
I'll do all the work. And, but they were like, well, we don't want to do this. We need somebody in-house. And they're in Redondo Beach. And Josh and Look Mister is like, they're in San Diego and he lives in North Park.
Oh, wow.
He's got the family and the house and everything. So he wasn't going to, he comes up to LA for meetings or he travels all over for jobs and stuff. But so he was like, well, he's like, I go, well, they want to an employee there, and it's like their place in Redondo that they had was like 50 editing bays, all editors. They never had a graphic designer together. How do you not have? And I was learning some editors are
Were they
like
outsourcing all the graphics?
Yeah,
and stuff? Okay.
yeah. It was expensive as hell, and
Super gnarly.
Bar Rescue was pretty tech. Like you look at the building, it flips around a 3D thing. You're looking at all stuff. So I started messing with it. I go, all right, I could do it. I could get enough of it. But then they're like, they want you to go in house. So I go, well, and Josh is good enough. He goes, dude, you get in a hard spot. I'll come to me and I'll help you.
Okay.
So I just jumped in and it was like a whole new world. It's like something I really liked in animation, but I was just sitting there. And same thing, like when I was working at DC, it was like a corporate thing. I was kind of intimidated for a second. I know what I could do, but I go, oh, these guys seem a little bit more bigger and corporate. But it's just when you go anywhere else, nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Everybody's faking it. Just go like, oh, I fit right in.
Right.
I don't know shit either.
Welcome to the Wine Club.
We're like, hey, drink up, Johnny. I don't like this job.
We're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
We're getting it done.
So you were doing the ones where the building the map and we're gonna put the bar
Yeah.
over here and do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So
So it's-
that's one of my favorite shows.
It's-
I'm watching.
I mean, I've
watching
definitely seen a handful
Yeah.
of those, man.
watching Steve Saiz's art in front of me. I didn't even know.
So rad.
Yeah. So I did season 5 and I did season 6.
Okay.
So I was
We'll go
there.
back and watch those.
Yeah. So and
I love those.
I was really stoked to have because back in the day when I was at Quicksilver, Danny Kwok was my team manager and he was rad. And he was like, dude, whatever you do, get your names in the credits for shit. That's what counts.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So I was like, I was really
Thing
yeah.
in Hollywood.
So your names were in the credits.
Yeah. It was
Yes.
it's so funny because they were just gonna put graphics, Steve Size, but I was like, well, can it be graphics director, motion, whatever? I made this long. My buddy Matt, he's the guy that wants to like, yeah, we'll do whatever you want. It's such an annoying long title on my thing. It's just like, I
We'll
go, all right,
take
but
it.
it's there. It's like, but I learned a lot, and I just worked with a bunch of different shows. Like I did 7 or 8 different shows.
Amazing.
All the time, and I just I just was learning more. It was all After Effects, and when those guys found out that I actually did branding and graphics and drew and stuff, like, oh, we don't have to go out here to do this. Go, no, do it all immediately. So, it was
What
rad.
Food Network shows did you do?
Well, the Food Network, is it just the Food Network? I think
Yeah,
just
Food Network.
So there was I remember there was a show we did it ran like once.
Okay. So
It was
nothing,
it was called was it Tailgate Party? I forget what it was. It was tailgate something. It was like this pro NFL guy and the chef, and they would go into. I thought the premise was cool, and they would go do tailgate battles with people and
Okay.
stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. But that was one of my first challenges when I got there. Like, they came to me. They go, well, which is kind of backwards. They already had the space on a network. They go, we have to have a show done by here in like. It was like 3 weeks, but we have a week to cover it and do all this stuff. And I was like, really? And so we just started working with one of the producers, and they just came up with the graphics, did everything really quick. They said they liked it immediately, and I was like stoked. They're like, yeah, it's the first time they okayed everything. I go, that's awesome, but it's because you guys already have dates already set. That's why they're
Right.
okaying it.
Right.
So, but it was just a rad working experience, and for me,
Wow.
I really got off on the fact of like, oh, I'm learning something else with the whole motion graphics and 3D thing.
Sick.
So yeah,
I mean, it's a good talent to have.
yeah. So yeah,
A lot of shit going
Yeah,
on there. But what are you doing nowadays? I mean, you got your art going on. We talked
Yeah.
about it at the top of the show. Was the Starbucks installation that you did
Yeah.
with
Christian
spray
Yeah, yeah,
paint
yeah.
and oil
Yeah,
paints
that's
and
amazing. You know
stuff
that
like
you read something on me. Yeah. So
No, we talk.
Oh yeah.
Mental.
Oh, you remember?
I can read you.
Remember? Yeah.
He's like, I hope he asked me about my oil paintings. No, but it's
I'm kicking him under the table right
But
now.
it's rad stuff, though.
Oh, well, thanks.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
rad.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, I mean, I with the painting stuff, it's like I do this like spray paint, tape over thing, oil painting thing. I love doing that. I also do these like napkin drawing things. Like if you go over to the Black, they have like a million of my napkin drawing kind of things.
way.
Did you just sat there and draw a bunch of napkins
yeah.
and left?
Yeah. Well, that wasn't all one night.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I do that
doodles.
all the time. Yeah, do like their little doodle things.
Sick.
And then, but also do like featherboards too. So I've been carving out, and it's
those
kind
are
of
rad.
going off of like my heritage of it's kind of like the Comanche Indian, the skateboarder, and all of us together. Because just to be going off on it a little bit, but I was like, I kind of looked at it as like when I was a kid skateboarding, getting air, like getting radical. That was it. Like Lakewood and see Vans and everybody to getting air, like trying to be Evil Knievel jump. Air was like the coolest thing you could possibly do.
Right.
For me, I thought. And I thought like between like all of us skateboarders too, it's like all the history of all the boards we have, it's like one feather to, this is going to sound really hokey, but to our wings, to our personal wings, you know, like, oh, I learned, 360 flips that day. This one's I learned a kick flip. Oh, I did this rail thing. Like all of these boards and
Okay.
any skateboarder's life has a history to it that we have, I
love it.
You got this in a magazine, you got this whatever. So, and I was kind of getting in, I was drawing stuff, and I just go, and I kind of carved out a skateboard one time, like a feather thing. I was drawing this. I did an illustration of it was like a feather, and then I made like a microphone thing on it. But I remember seeing, what's his name? Not Mark McGee. I forget the artist. Oh, he's a homie too. He did.
Todd Brattrud?
No, he did. You guys probably know this. You've seen this. It's an icon of California and has skate holes in it.
Oh,
had-
Larson? No.
No,
We had that, Raj.
We have it hanging up. We used to.
Oh
We do
God!
it.
Because I'm trying to remember. That's
Michael
the-
Leone.
Michael
Michael
Leone.
Leone.
Michael Leone.
Yeah.
I love Michael Leone. Sorry, Michael, if you listen to this. Yeah, I should have. But it's because I try to recall it. So his thing, I just always loved it. It was just so simple, so perfect. I loved it. And so I was doing the feather thing, and I just go, I'm going to put some skate hole things in it, And I put it on there. I go, man, that would be kind of awesome if I carved it out. So I ended up carving one out. And I go, oh, this looks really cool. And then it just kind of, to me, it just meant a lot because it's like, we're all birds of a feather. This is one thing we do. And this is something that, the life of some of the boards I do have been skated on, which I think it has a soul to it. And some boards, I get new stuff from, thank you, Paul Schmidt. Thank you, Chris Pastris. Oh, thank you, Jeff Raleigh, too. I'll post up a photo of him. I made a board for him recently. And those guys have been hooking me up with boards too, which is so
Sick.
great.
That's cool.
So
I tell people, I go, hey, look, you get this board, just thank Paul, thank Dune, thank
Amazing.
Raleigh, because these guys they're hooking me up, I mean,
That's
with
so
their
rad.
stuff that's kind of warped out, but I go, I love it. So speaking of,
Oh, what is this?
Hey.
Little box?
I had a feather graphic one time.
you did?
Yeah.
What was it? I want
Was that a
to
part
wanna
of a
see
series?
it?
Was that a part of a series?
Oh my god!
It was a one-off. Look at you. Go ahead,
What?
please. No, I want to see.
This
I'll
is
just
it.
look for it right here.
Was it a
Oh,
peacock
wow.
feather?
Wow.
it's just normal
Dude, those
feather.
are so detailed.
This is for
Wow.
For the
Look at
dude.
that drew on it.
That's super
oh
rad,
my
bro.
God,
Awesome.
bro.
sorry, it still smells like paint.
No, I love.
So,
the smell
but
of
that's
paint.
for you guys.
Dude, thank
I
you.
tried to match. I tried to
Hell
match
yeah.
the orange.
No
So-
one can ever do it.
Bad.
There's a lot of spray paint on there. So, yeah.
Raj, no one can do
love
it.
it.
Oh my God.
That's super.
We're on
sick.
there? Is that us?
That's actually you three guys. Like, funny enough.
beautiful.
Well, it's just those part of my like one little line sketch things, whatever. So
VAIL.
Dude, those are really sick.
no, that's
man.
actually an S. S. Wait, the first one's S.
Oh, Saiz.
Yeah. It's like,
There you
I thought you
go.
were messing with
Looks
me.
like
This
V
week.
from here.
I guess,
No,
I guess so.
He's
Oh.
like, it's like V.
Yeah.
No, but now that I look at it, yeah.
It says Steve.
Oh, Steve.
That's just Steve.
Bro, thank you for this,
Yeah.
dude. It does
Dude,
smell
that's
like paint.
rad.
It's
man.
way. smells
How
like paint.
the
It's
hell?
still wet.
Let me ask you a
check that out?
question, bro. How long does that take? What are you doing? I mean, look at the
It's
look
like
at all
it's
the cuts.
it's like a
Yeah, that's
it's a 3-month
amazing.
process.
Shut the
3 month?
Well, that's what I tell people. It's a really lush.
Dude.
No, it like I said, like yeah, it takes like a week or so. But it's I kind of I'll take the board, I'll draw it out, I'll like jigsaw it, scroll saw it, and then I'll go and like grind it, and then do like it. Yeah, so it's like kind of because it's grinded down, and then just Dremel. So all these Dremels are basically like drawing it.
Oh, so you use the Dremel.
Yeah, then a Dremel,
Right.
and then I paint them. Some of them are natural, see, and that's the rad thing. Like with the boards, like your table. When I started, like one of my buddies, Randy, he's a homie that's basically Thompson. He does construction, and he was like, dude, I think I can help you out with your boards, and he was hooking me up with the proper tools, made things way quicker, way faster. To like, oh, here you get it. So when I started grinding it into it, I was getting these really cool. You're going into the different layers of the boards, and if you get really cool layered boards, it just makes this like really cool rainbowed out thing. Like I can kind of guess, but sometimes they just take a character. They have their own character of their own, so it just comes out. Kind of. Some of them are kind of sick. Some are kind of boring. The ones that are boring, I try to paint over.
There you go.
Dude,
So this one's
best
the
of it.
painted over version.
thank you
Love it.
so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Unfortunately,
So rad.
Google Images doesn't have my feather board. on
Oh
it.
yeah, sure, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I've been looking for it.
Yeah.
I'll send you a photo.
No,
of
I want
it.
to see.
I'll
I
send you
definitely
a
want to
photo
see
of
it.
it. It's
Is it like a whole feather on the
It's
bottom?
a whole
Yeah.
feather on the bottom. Do you remember that one?
I remember it.
Whole
Definitely.
feather. It's kind of got a.
It's not one color, is it? Like
It's two colors.
Two colors,
It's like
the
a
background.
tan and then a black feather.
Oh,
Oh, it's sick.
It's dope.
I don't know
that
why.
sounds familiar. Really does.
I don't know
so
why.
sick.
I'll have
Thank
to
you.
send you a photo of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it
Maybe we'll put it up for the viewers
for sure.
too.
Yeah,
once I say.
give them a little treat. Let them
Oh,
see the.
thank you for this.
Yeah.
It's so light too.
Yeah, it's
Listen,
so funny because it's
skaters of a feather.
yeah,
They
skaters
flock
of feather.
together.
Yeah, yep.
You know what I'm saying?
All fucked up together.
Hey, that's amazing.
That's
dude.
super cool, man.
So
Wow.
So you have an art show coming out.
yeah,
very
so
soon.
yeah, so
June 25th.
June 25th.
Tell us
Awesome
about
enough.
it.
It's going to be at the old Beastie Boy studio in Atwater. They
Nice.
basically redid the studio. I met through a friend of mine, or I just a new friend. This guy, John, Chef John. He kind of goes, hey, they got the studio together. I just wanted to see it because I'd gone there like way back in the day. I haven't seen it forever, so it's all cleaned up. They still have the old basketball net up there.
What's
But-
in the studio? Is it? Did they used to record their music
Yeah,
there?
they had a stage, and they had quarter pipes at one time, and then they had a mini ramp, full mini ramp.
Wow.
Then all of their gear is just a bunch of junk. They had some quarter pipes in there.
Sick.
I think I saw a video with like Christian and Ratty skating in one of them too before. But this is the time when they were doing Check Your Head, and this is the 30-year anniversary of Check Your Head.
Oh, okay.
So, which is awesome. So, and to me, this place is like holy ground. There's so much creativeness that happened there. So they are I booked the space and I talked to some of my friends. So my brother's going to be in it. His new stuff is amazing. One of my buddies, Chris is going to be in it with Tobin. He's going to use his photos to like some of the old stereo stuff. They're going to do a piece all together. So that's going to be amazing. I'm so stoked those guys are going to be in it. Tristan Eaton and his brother. Tristan, he's amazing artist. He's like, I don't know, he's like the #1 muralist guy, I think, now.
Really?
He's done stuff for Universal. Look him up if you don't know him.
Wow.
Okay.
But he's huge. Him and Shepard just did a NFT thing together.
Okay.
But his stuff is crazy. Wow. His brother is just as talented. He's rad. He's doing paintings for it. The Chase, he's done stuff all over LA. His stuff is.
I know Chase.
You know Chase, yeah.
I mean, didn't grow up with him, but he skated. He used to live with Marco.
Oh my God.
Chase.
The art of Chase.
He told me to say hello to you.
See?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he goes, because he used to go and smoke out with his roommate or something all the time.
He used to live with Marco. Marco and Alec.
Yeah.
Marco and Alec.
Sorry, I thought
Marco.
yeah. No, but he said to say hi.
It was Sugar Sports.
Sugar Sports, yeah.
No, but the art of Chase.
The Art of Chase.
He does these rad murals and
Yeah.
these like faces
Yeah.
and it's
bright
it's
colors.
amazing.
Yeah, he's an artist.
What's up, Chase? How you doing,
yeah.
brother? Good to see you.
He's a global artist. All these guys are such good people. They're all homies.
Great.
Him. Let's see, and Gino Perez.
No way.
The Gino Perez. He was the first one that I started talking to, and he's all like, we became homies because over the last couple of years, I always knew of him, but I always thought there was two Gino Perez's. I thought there was an artist, Gino Perez. I thought it was a skater. And then when I met him and we talked, found out, no, it's the one and the same. I was like, holy shit, he's a great artist.
Sick.
But he's, but he doesn't look the way he did now. It's just like super fashion guy.
No,
big beard.
we were just talking. One of our guests, they brought up Gino Perez. Yeah. I think it was not on the show. Maybe it was off the show. Do you don't remember?
I don't remember.
Somebody was telling us some stories about Gino Perez. So sick back in the
Yeah.
day, 60-40.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bro.
He used to skate. And it's rad because I've been hearing more stories about him skating with Mark. He was kind of like Mark's entourage, but he said there was times that like Gino was like wanted to skate with you guys and like hit the ledges, and he was tech and he was like, I want to do this, but then Mark could be like, oh no, let's not go to LA Courthouse, let's go to Santa Monica, there's some museum show I want to go check out, or go or go, let's look at these books or whatever. But he was kind of almost grooming him to be this artist person. And he introduced him to so many different artists. And you could see in his work, like, oh, I know you like this guy, you like this guy, you like this guy. But yeah, so Gino was like one of the first ones to go, dude, whatever you need, we're in there, let's do it. And funny enough, talking about somebody who had the first skateboard, his first skateboard was mine.
Wow.
Gino Perez's first skateboard was your board.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he told me about it. It was one of his art. I heard about this, and then he had an art show downtown LA, pretty big. Him and this other guy. He does big pieces. It's like a whole floor of this one warehouse.
Okay.
And his family was there, and he goes up and he introduces me to his mom and his aunts. And there's like 5 of them. It's kind of like my mom's side, like all the old Compton days, basically, where all my aunts, they were like the same people. I just pictured the same thing. It's all East LA stuff.
Okay.
It's like the same thing. His mom put in $40 for a board. Each aunt put in $10 so they can get him a whole board. And I go, oh, wow, they paid for the board. But he actually went in there with his mom to pick out the board. His mom was the one that picked out my graphic. She said, what about picking up that graphic? He's like, yeah, I like it. And he just knew he wanted to start skating.
Was this your first board or second board?
His first
No,
board.
wait, but which graphic though?
The Comanche Shield.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the Comanche Shield.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's people call it the tone pole or whatever. But
Wait a minute. If you have this, what was the other board that you had?
That one. That's the Buffalo.
Oh, the
There's
okay.
two. Those are the
Yeah.
two.
These are the only two.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Nowadays, it's like it's just every drop. It's like
Yeah.
every
season,
month.
If you're
boom,
that
boom,
dude,
boom,
you
boom,
get like
boom,
8
boom.
boards. Like
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Easy.
So that's insane. So it was so awesome to have him in on that too. So I was like, cool. And just like this last week, Andy Jenkins is on board too. So Andy's going to be in the show
Bro,
too.
You got a great
You got a
It's
squad.
and these guys, I'm so stoked that they're just like, whatever you need, I'm in. I'm like, that's gonna be cool.
Dude.
But it's all just such good people.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great artists. And Andy, I mean, he was like, I think you guys have this cover, this old cover. It's like
Homeboy
Spike.
magazine.
Yeah, Spike took me out skating one time, and I go, oh, let's go to what's the hip? Is it Gardena? Oh, what I forget the name of the famous
Los
Spike-
Feliz?
Not Las Feliz. That's not Las Feliz.
Lockwood,
Lockwood?
Was it Lockwood?
7th
God.
Street?
Not 7th Street.
Pioneer.
But, no, not Pioneer. God,
Gardena.
it's Gardena. It's Gardena.
Okay.
I think it's Gardena hip. And so Spike takes me there, but then we stop by. It's the first time I met Andy. We go to Homeboy. They're just doing Homeboy, and I remember going in there. Hey, Andy, cool, and I just knew them because they did Freestyle Magazine back in the day, and that's how I became friends with
Yeah.
Spike and him. And they, hey, thanks for letting us use your skate shots in a magazine. Michael, thanks for wanting to use me in your magazines. Like I always loved Spike. He was just, he
He's
was
the
just,
best.
He was
He's a
just
good
super
guy.
cool. We always got along. We're always homies, and so he takes me over there, and then Andy shows me the cover. Hey, what do you think of the new Homeboy cover? And it's their new magazine, and it's Cab at Venice doing, I don't know, it's like a fakey 360.
Caballero.
No, it's like a Caballero foot plant. That's what it is, like a Caballero foot plant, like a frontside boneless thing that he did. I go, oh, it looked awesome. I go, yeah, that's awesome. He's all, oh, okay, well, what about this one instead? And he pulls out that one.
No.
It's me doing the board sliding on top of a picnic table. And my brother's sitting there right there, too.
Amazing.
So, and I think Chet is back there too. No, I think this is Christian Jacobs that does Aquabats and all that too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's him. So I was like, oh my God. I go, oh, I'd really like to have Cab have the cover, but I'd be kind of stoked to have the cover. He's like,
Yeah.
no, this is the cover, man. I'm like, oh, so stoked.
No
Wow.
way.
And then he took me. Then we shot a bunch of it was just Spike and I. And then we just went and shot a bunch of photos that day. So, but it was it was rad.
I love
it was good.
it.
Rad. But Jenkins, he's just I always love his art, and I love it. He's just such a good designer too. He's such a
He's
everything
great.
he does is just all the stuff he did for Girl. And,
Yeah.
and then he told me, he's like, well, I started Girl there and extra large, and we're all in those offices and stuff. I go, dude, I know what you did.
You don't need to give me your resume, bro.
I know what you did. So
He's great.
We're doing a show there, and it's like I kind of am hoping to maybe, because I kind of just started. I guess I don't have to collect. I don't know how to call it collective, but just I'm a large appreciator of LA. I love LA. I love where I'm from, and so the whole thing is we're going to call the show Us Angeles, the name I'm calling
Oh,
it. But
Us
I
Angeles,
want
I
to
like
do
it.
other shows with other friends, just kind of LA based. And I mean, like Chasey's not from LA, but he kind of grew up in LA.
Yeah.
And it's same with Chris. I mean, he's had history in LA. So just people and appreciators of it. And we're gonna do this one on the 25th of June on a Saturday.
Okay.
See how it goes, and then probably do more. And I still want to try to do it. Wow, what the hell? What'd you put in this?
Peanut butter.
I put peanut butter. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the peanut. Yeah. I kind of want to do if we could do like a Beastie Boys show after that, because this one is we're just gonna do whatever anybody wants to do. I think I might do. I'd love to do an MCA one. I'm working on it right now. So
That'd be
because
sick. June 25th.
June 25th
is the art show.
hopefully you guys
at the
show
Beat.
up.
I would
Listen,
love to. Can
I'm
you
gonna-
buy
Yeah.
art? Can you buy the art?
Oh no, yeah, we're doing an art show so people
Yeah.
possibly buy.
Well, I mean, I'm
because I
not-
want to stop mowing lawns.
I mean,
We'll get you there.
yeah, we're gonna help you get there.
We'll get you there, bro.
Yeah.
Listen,
Do prints. There's tons of feather boards. I'm gonna try to make a totem pole out of those things. By the way, so that one's gonna be big.
there
I'm
you
working on
go.
it too. But paintings,
Okay.
prints.
what about
everything else.
drawings? I would love
Drawings,
to have
too.
my artwork in there.
Well, yeah,
Along
there you're
with- along
talking
with
about.
you
You
guys,
could get it in there. Let's.
I'm just gonna. It's like this big.
It's a post-it note.
Yeah,
It's like kind of a
You're
little
in.
bit bigger than a post-it note.
Yeah, you're in.
Postcard?
You're in. Yeah.
Postcard.
You could just
son?
pin it on the
Postcard.
wall. I'll put like 20 cents on there, or whatever, or OBO or best
No,
offer.
Yeah.
Put it in the auction.
Yeah. We'll put it 20 cents and then our cut. So it'll be like another 17.
Wait,
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
guys fucking take a cut.
yeah.
Of course they are.
Hey, we ain't working for free.
Yeah.
We're hustling,
Yeah.
just like you guys.
Well, that's $20 then.
All right, there you go.
Trying to make some money, dude.
That'd be
but
awesome.
That's awesome, dude. So June 25th, and I'm sure you're going to be posting it on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Where people could go because it's in Atwater. Is that
Yeah,
what you
it's
said?
in Atwater.
Atwater.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in Atwater.
Village.
It's Atwater Village.
Okay.
Same
How
spot.
far is Atwater from here?
Dude, it's on the other side of like Silver Lake and Echo Park on
Okay.
the 5.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
25?
Yeah.
Minutes?
Oh, it's across
Right now?
town. Yeah.
Oh, right now.
Yeah, if you left right
right
now,
now.
you get there.
Well,
at
it's 9
25.
o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's already 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
What time do you go to bed?
That tender date's gone by now.
Had her waiting too long.
Maybe she's still there.
Hey, maybe she got coffee. She can
Maybe.
stay
That's
up.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. But dude, congrats on everything, dude.
Dude,
yeah,
That's
man.
amazing. I
Definitely,
love
bro.
to sit down. I love to hear old Powell days, old 80s stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
70s stuff,
70s,
72,
yeah,
73.
19
Yeah.
Even the 20s.
Even the 20s.
Yes.
1920.
Our 60 stuff when we used to march, on the bridge skating.
I'm telling
Nobody
you,
knows
bro.
about that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No one's catching me on that. I was like, I said more.
Look at this,
I
bro.
wish.
Look at this.
Yeah. So.
Man, these are so cool, bro.
They're
God,
dope.
thank
Hey,
you.
thank you so much for this, bro.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Thank you for having me on the show,
Oh,
man. I'm
man.
just so stoked.
Oh man, it was
Ecstatic.
our pleasure.
Yeah, bro.
Right.
It was our
Fucking
pleasure.
awesome.
Come back anytime, and like I
Don't
said, man,
say that because I'll come back.
you'll come back.
Yeah, you next time.
Don't you tempt me.
tomorrow. I don't know where to put this. I'm
We'll
going to leave it
figure
right
out.
here on the
Yeah.
table. However, no, don't listen. We want to give you some 9 Club stuff if you
Yeah.
want to take home.
I want a coffee mug. I
We
want to
got
even
you.
throw it.
We got you,
Drew
Kelly.
one.
We do the
Yeah,
honors,
of
bro.
course.
Drew
Get
it.
him some. What size are you, dude?
Coffee?
Large.
Like large. Oh,
What
yeah,
about
large
a-
for t-shirts. Oh, yeah.
Large t-shirts?
Large.
We don't have.
All right. I think we're running low on the large.
Are you
but,
guys large?
Yeah.
Getting slim out here.
So I got this. These
you
are part of my tour graphic thing. Maybe open it up so you can see it.
Oh, open that up.
So this is like a Peace Unity skate featherboard thing that I've
Okay.
kind of
I
been
gotta show you my
I wanna see
featherboard,
it.
bro. I wish I could find
I
it.
sent you the graphic.
You did?
Yeah.
How'd you
Check your
find
phone.
Oh, there you go.
It's not the board though.
Ah.
Oh, it's
there you go.
not?
Sick.
No. This is something else, dude. This is a band or some
Yeah.
shit.
The
Your
feather
name on a
band.
feather.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's not it.
That's a large. That's a medium. Anybody rock a medium? I got a couple larges.
Hey, you know what?
With
I do.
stickers.
Hey.
Love it.
Wait.
Oh.
Sorry about it. What is this again?
So that's kind of like I wanted to do. We're still kind of planning around doing an art tour, but it's like Power, Peace, Unity, and then there's actually the featherboard. So that's kind of a thing I wanted to do. I'm
Sick.
gonna try to go on tour, but that's gonna be
love
maybe
it.
the icon little
Love
thing.
that.
So I got
And-
stickers for it.
Hey, I want to
Los
just.
Angeles.
I want to.
Los
Oh yeah.
Angeles.
Perfect.
And Powell Peralta, thank you very much for all the years and
Yeah.
the boom, all the love. So,
OG.
More
dude,
stickers, bro. Thank you, Kelly.
Bucks left, dude.
We don't. We have mugs. We'll give it to you after the show. We have new
I saw
mugs.
New.
Oh,
Devlin.
Kelly. Oh, in there. The
So Devlin-
sorry to make you run around, bro.
Devlin had he showed me this case.
Sam Devlin?
No, team manager Powell.
Oh.
Yeah, so he showed me this picture. He's got, I guess every time his name gets mentioned, he gets a mug, whatever.
Oh,
and I guess
really?
you sent him all these mugs. I go, was that real? I go, bullshit.
Oh.
So, wait, here's another. Here's a large. So if anybody wants a large,
Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
Can I tell you something,
Yeah.
bro? Love the idea of the reservations, skate
Yeah,
parks and
thank you.
reservation stuff. Anything we can do to help, you let us know. We could hold a raffle for donations. We
Oh,
could
be
donate
awesome.
money. We could do whatever we need to do. I love it.
Yeah.
We'll help out any way we can.
yeah, I started talking to Tony's
Yeah,
people
thank you,
over
Kelly.
at the thing at their foundation.
Yeah.
and they're going, yeah, let's
Skate park
just
project?
Yeah, just get them going to have them start in the program.
Okay.
Well,
Keep us up to date.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
we'll then promote it on our experience show. We'll, like I said, we'll maybe host a raffle for all the donations to be donated over there. So I love it. We'll do that.
I brought a bunch of shit.
Jesus, are you?
That's my
You're
old-
a new team manager.
Yeah,
Bro.
that's one of my old shirts.
Wait. This is old.
Large, well, it's the old, large.
Yep.
Large. Boom.
Thank you.
What year
large.
is this? Really old or is it
70s?
reissue?
It's the reissue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my old pal shirt.
Wait, this is large.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now this, I mean, it's the.
Presents, bro. I love presents.
I had to bring something. It's the old. This used to be down here, so they moved it up here, which I kind of like. But I liked it back then. It used to be down here when it was new. So
The
yeah,
back. Look at
the
that.
old one. Boom.
Damn, that's
Sean
tight.
Claver, Powell,
back
think
hit.
those guys.
Chest
Hey,
hit.
shout out Sean Cliver.
Yeah.
Like
This
one
is
of
an
the
extra large. Anybody
OGs.
wanna-
I mean,
Yeah.
Sean Cliver, Mark McKee, like those guys in the
Yeah.
90s. Like,
Straight
dude,
up.
bro,
So much amazing
it's
art.
insane.
Bro.
Those
It's
guys
insane.
they're and it's rad to see
Hundreds
like Sean
and hundreds
busy.
of boards.
Yeah, they're just so busy. Jeez.
Thank you for this, bro.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank
Thank
you
you,
very
man.
much.
Raj, you don't get any.
I already have one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. Oh,
What?
it's
Thanks,
there's
DeVille.
some on the table.
Ah,
Oh, really?
DeVille.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
I thought you said Sam Devlin.
Devlin.
I was like,
oh, I
damn,
did. I
that's
said Devlin. I did
a
probably. Yeah,
blast
sorry.
from the past.
Thanks, sorry,
First of all,
sorry.
Steve,
Sorry, homie.
bro,
Well, thank
Put
you
it here.
very
Thank
much,
you so
guys.
much
Awesome
for
to meet
coming
you
by.
guys.
Thank you, bro.
I know you guys. You guys are legends.
no, dude,
Boom.
you're
Legend
the
as
legend.
well, bro.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
only
dude.
my
You are
own
the
mind.
legend, man. Yeti.
Oh,
Nine
holy!
Club.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Keep hydrated out there,
How
Steve.
much are these?
That's free. Well, we'll send. Listen, we
We'll
gotta.
send him a bill.
You can just PayPal
Wow.
me. You can PayPal.
You trade products. You guys can
Yeah.
barter.
There it is.
This is nice.
Isn't that nice?
Hell
Keeps it nice and cold.
Yeah.
Dude,
You know?
and we got the old 9 Club shirt for you.
Come
There's a 9 Club
on.
shirt.
Yeah.
You skating
Black.
the combi bowl down
Yeah.
there. You can put that on.
When I can skate again.
Do you go skate a lot?
I haven't recently. I've been off my board because I ripped my soleus muscle in my left leg.
Ugh.
I think I have to have surgery on it. I was going to Anaheim Park like literally when the sun's coming up. Skate this little park in Anaheim. They have the little Clover Bowl. They have a little some street stuff. So early, I started skating 3 weeks and then rip it. I'm like, I kept ripping up. Been doing that for the last couple of years. So I'm just finally having it work on.
What muscle is it?
So it's a soleus muscle. I think I'm pronouncing it right. It's kind of like lower than your calf muscle, but it's inside, so it's really kind of a hard muscle. So I've been ripping the ligaments over and over and over again.
Is this
Is that
like
from pushing?
Yeah, from pushing, and then now I'm pushing on it, and it's because my back foot, I'm a goofy foot.
Okay.
So I've been kind of pushing on it, but even carving around, I get to a point where I start to feel a little. Sometimes
Like a
I just feel
pinch?
that. No, sometimes I feel that snap, like and I can't walk for weeks.
Are you sure it's not your tendon, your Achilles tendon?
Yeah, because I've done that. I got that little beauty.
Oh, you definitely do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I did my Achilles tendon.
Oh, did you? Did you
Yeah.
rip it
I
or
didn't rip
sever?
it, but it was tendonitis.
Oh.
It was it took me out for like a year. And sometimes I still will feel a pinch now and then if I don't like do some leg stretching.
Yeah.
Tight calves. Tight calves
Yeah.
lead to
Yeah.
Achilles tendon
Yeah.
problems. So you're telling me it's in between the tendon and
The calf
bone
in between.
almost.
Yeah. It's inside. So I just went to see a specialist.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Jeff Raleigh. He hooked me up with somebody that he sees in L.A.
Good,
I forget
good.
the name of the doctor, but she sees like him. She's seen like Kobe back in the day. I think Naja's been there. I don't know if
Okay.
Danny's been there too.
Wow.
But she's more like foot ankle person. But she's helped him out tons, and she just filling up on my leg. You need MRIs. I think we
Okay.
need to do all the stuff, get surgery. But I go, can we get it fixed? She's like, yeah. So because
Perfect.
it just gets so frustrating. I start skating again, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I want to go I want to video some stuff or photo some stuff. And then as soon as I do or want to I think I'm almost there, and I get that rip and a frustration again. I go, man, I can't do anything for like next couple weeks.
I was going to ask how long you're out for. A couple
Yeah,
weeks.
it's a couple
Yeah.
weeks. And but
Gotcha.
she's like, you keep ripping it like crazy.
Good luck with that,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, man.
Cheer me
Here's
up with some
another
good t-shirts,
9
though.
Club shirt for you.
Yes.
And of course, we got to
This
give
one.
you my Switch Flip, Switch Manny shirt.
Gotta get
Holy,
that
oh,
one.
come on.
Caballero wears mine all the time. He loves it. you
Yeah.
know. It's his daily driver.
I
so to
wouldn't
speak.
doubt it.
And mugs. Speaking of mugs, we got the 9 Club mug. This is our new one we got coming out very shortly. It's got Mike V holding me up, doing a crowd plan, skater supporting skaters.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go, baby.
That's what we do
And
over here.
you gave us some stickers.
Yeah.
Here's some stickers
Oh.
for you.
Put those on. Oh, wow,
There you
you're not
go.
just around. These are
No,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
You know who makes those? Jim Gray.
Does he?
Yeah.
Awesome. I try to make him some stickers for me. Boy won't call me back.
Really?
Jim. Thanks a
Jim,
lot. Yeah.
call back.
He'll call you back
skating.
now.
I love Jim though.
He's
Yeah.
great, man. So,
These are awesome. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
dude, thank you for coming on
Yeah,
the show.
yeah.
Wow.
And the
Oh, we got the belts.
yeah.
Grip 6, we
Belt.
did a collab with them. They're great belts.
Oh, wow.
Great belts.
Check this out.
Yeah. Jerron even wears his with. He was wearing
Yeah, I'm wearing it with my shorts right now.
with his basketball shorts.
I always wear it. Never leave home without it.
Oh, these are. Oh, wow, the plate thing. This is nice. This is different. This is awesome.
It's a great
Got
belt.
the Powell, Powell looking logo in the back here.
It's amazing, bro.
Doesn't that look like the old Powell?
It actually, now that you mention it, does.
does.
But it's a 6 instead of a
George,
P.
you might want to get your lawyer.
Whoa! Hey, easy.
I know you can edit that out. Come on.
No, we're done editing.
Dude, see,
No.
what if you made like a 9 Club like 3D animation before each episode for 9 Club? You know, like something would come in.
Like somebody doing a manual over something?
Chris puts a manual.
Yeah, just
Or
like
the
a- logo.
logo just comes in and just right before every episode, and it's all.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
I
what
would
about just-
love to do that
what
with
about-
you guys.
what about-
I'm not kidding. You want that?
I got an
I'm not-
original idea. What about like somebody grabbing and then like poking their head out?
Well, Rob Roscopish.
What? No, I'm telling you.
Wrong company.
It's
dude.
Chris coming out.
No, actually, it's kind of funny. I was gonna like maybe do this little hype thing that I'm on here. I was gonna go, how long would it take me to do the original Ripper logo thing?
Yeah.
But I was going like, how can I do it? He rips out, so maybe instead of his head, it's the coffee mug, or I put the logo on top of his forehead or something.
Yeah.
You know, so he's ripping through, and it's just, but it's instead it's a coffee mug
Yeah, we need
instead
to.
of a skeleton. Good for kids.
Oh, you're talking about no.
For an animation thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you could make
But
all.
the 3D thing you're talking about, I could totally do that in a,
That would be pretty sick.
Are
to
you
have,
saying make all 3 coming through?
Yeah.
yeah.
all 3 of us?
Yeah.
Oh, come through with the 9 Club logo,
Yeah.
and then we just
Yeah,
like,
it's like.
Oh yeah. I could
Coming
totally
out of
do
a black
that.
hole.
That would be awesome. Yeah, come on.
That would be amazing.
Now we're getting into a different realm. So the address, do you get your mail here too? So this is where I can send the invoice?
Thanks for coming, Steve. It's been a great show.